Hi, I'm Nadia Combs, Chair of the Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools. We serve more than 200,000 students. That includes children in preschool through adults in our workforce program.
I'm Henry Shake Washington, the Board Vice Chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of more than 24,000 people working at nearly 250 sites across the county.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to email or meet with any of our board members and follow our district on social media. Board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum Cable Channel 635 and Frontier Cable Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They're posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students, every day. Todos los estudiantes, todos los días. Thank you for your interest in education. With your help, we're making decisions that shape our community's future.
The board meeting of July 26, 2022 is called to order. Member Washington will now lead us in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
We have 2 withdrawn items today. 603, purchase of Waterford Early Learning Reading, Math, Science, and or Smart Start software. And 709, approval of the quit claim deed at 605 North Collins Street, Plant City. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Washington. Any discussion? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes with 5 yeses and 1 no. Okay, let the record reflect that all members are present except for Member Vaughn, who will be here shortly. We have 1 set of minutes to be approved today, July 12, 2022, school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Hahn, and I have a second by Member Washington. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Board members, I'd like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we're a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient and effective agenda statements and or questions, board members will have 3 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back into the queue. Member Washington will now lead us with the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we begin this afternoon meeting, let me quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed caption on live webcasts on cable TV and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It also can be viewed with closed caption on the online video archives.
Thank you, Member Washington. We have several items scheduled for time certain. 5:01, first public hearing on millage rates and public hearing on adoption of revised policies, and at 6 o'clock, employee input. We will now begin with public comment. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here. However, it is requested when you address the board comments are not directed personally against a board member or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern and a red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. I will now call up the first 5 speakers. First speaker, please come up. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Potter, President of the League of Women Voters of Hillsborough County. Our membership votes on our program each year, and the first statement under our education program is that our group advocates for adequate funding of public education in Florida. The League of Women Voters of Florida, our members across the state, have voted to support Florida's constitutional requirement to make adequate provision for the education of all children that is uniform, efficient, safe, secure, and high quality. We support a free public school system for Florida with high standards for student achievement and with quality of educational opportunity for all that is financed adequately by the state through an equitable funding formula. We all know that $8,000 per student does not adequately fund a high quality education where teachers are paid what they deserve, let alone the additional services needed by many of our children. The state legislature has not provided adequate funding. Instead, they have decreased the millage for our public schools in Hillsborough County from 5.3 in 2010 to 3.5 today. The Tampa Bay Times editorial that recommended a no vote on this millage stated that the funding is needed, but it can wait until another year. The League stands behind every student and every teacher. The teacher of 2024 or 2027 isn't more deserving than our teachers today. The students who start school in the future are not more deserving of arts education or welding training than our students today. It's easy to speak against this millage and look away from the students who need the public school system to provide a high quality education with services such as speech therapy or smaller classes for students with disabilities. In order to have this, we need to be adequately funded, and we need teachers, high quality teachers. Waiting to provide additional funding for teacher salaries ensures more teachers leaving the profession and not returning. Tightening our belts more when the funding is insufficient has been impacting all of our students and teachers long enough. We cannot provide high quality services in every one of our public schools by starving our schools of resources. The League of Women Voters of Hillsborough County recommends a yes vote for Hillsborough schools on August 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Paula Castagno. According to research by Harvard, Brookings, Rand Corporation, Economic Policy Institute, to just name a few, effective teachers are the most important school-based determinant of student educational performance. To promote children's success in school, students must retain credentialed teachers and ensure that teaching remains an attractive career option for college-bound students. Simply put, the state of Florida doesn't provide the public school system enough money to retain quality teachers. Since 2007, Florida has dropped from 23rd in per pupil funding to 46th in 15 short years. We are 49th in teacher pay. Hillsborough County bears an even more of a brunt due to the fact that we are the 7th largest district in the country. I'm telling you nothing that you don't already know, but I'm putting this on public record for those at home. Over 90% of our district budget already goes towards paying salaries for teachers and support staff. As a community, we need to find a way to support our public schools and our teachers. Number one, offer a 2-step increase to teachers. Number two, provide financial incentives and due respect for those with advanced degrees and longevity so they stay with our district. Number three, give teachers the benefits they deserve. To include their health insurance, there's a way to do that through the state. This millage referendum with an oversight committee will get some of these things for our teachers. The millage will only be used on operational expenses such as the arts, music, PE programs, and salaries, as compared to the half-cent penny referendum, which is used for capital expenses. For those at home that are listening, the half-cent penny referendum has been carefully monitored by former Florida Education Commissioner Betty Castor and Sheriff Chronister, just to name two of the people on the committee. Every penny has been accounted for, just like this millage referendum will be accounted for. I am a no party affiliate. I will personally be voting for this referendum. My husband, as a Republican, will be voting for this referendum. We know many other people in those parties that will go along and join us. This vote is just a small personal financial impact as an investment in the future of Tampa Bay. Let's not make this about political parties. Let's make this about our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I am a parent and education advocate. A wise man once said, destroying any nation doesn't require the use of bombs or low-range missiles. It only requires lowering the quality of education. Patients die at the hands of these doctors. Humanity dies at the hands of such religious leaders. The collapse of education is the collapse of a nation. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen, the brink of a pile of rubble. Yet we need not ask who cast the first stone or lit the first match. We all need to rise together and lay the bricks once again, one by one. The foundation of a strong education is funding, plain and simple. We cannot serve each student and teacher without the dollars. We're in one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in this country, yet our state continues to starve our education system, reducing the amount it gives us per student over time. Florida is ranked 45th in the country, and Hillsborough County is 46th out of 67 counties in funding. Over a third of the state has sought and approved additional funding for their counties for public education, and it's time we do the same, and now. We cannot continue to hope the winds will change in Tallahassee. This isn't about whether you like the superintendent, no offense, or this board. It's about doing what's right for the students and the teachers. Let the Oversight Committee do the job they have been doing since last year by providing transparency to the school budget and where it is allocated. Let them do the same for this referendum. This isn't for my kids or any individual group of kids. It's to invest in our future. If we are teaching our kids to look out for one another, it's time we model this behavior. Don't leave them in the rubble. Show them that it's not just about them, it's about everyone as a whole, as a family, as a village. I am personally voting yes to this millage referendum, and I hope you do the same. But it's not just for you, it's for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Last time I was here, I said it would be a shame if something like what happened in Texas should occur here, and it really would be. There was a big moan from the audience as though I was endorsing that happening. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that? I wasn't endorsing that. But then those are the same people that don't get up here to say, why aren't you building high-performance passive solar buildings? And I just heard that money that's been collected for capital improvement has been somehow wisely spent. What a joke. Look at the headline, CO2 level highest in human history. Report sea rise is clear and present risk. Stark warnings for the warming planet. UN report spells out dire consequences of climate change. Time is running out to fix climate, report says. Earth's carbon dioxide levels at the highest level in 4 million years. And here, this building, a template for basically how all buildings should look. Now, naturally, a school building isn't going to be exactly like this, but the general principle applies. The east-west access, the proportion, no windows on east or west walls. The building albedo. You know what that means, don't you, Superintendent? Yeah, but you don't get it right. You don't get it right. The planet burns. And of course, when we get to the budget, we can talk about the money that's not going right. This is a doggone shame.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Pat Hall, and I have some random thoughts about millage. The word millage has not been well explained to the voting public and parents. Some people are calling it mileage. Pinellas has had this millage component benefiting teachers and staff for at least 5 years, and they have effectively poached some of our best leaders across the bridge. 22 counties are ahead of Hillsborough in voting for this extra money for teachers and staff. And the reason we need extra money is our Republican legislature has squeezed money out of public schools for the last 20 years, especially the last 10, with escalation of voucher fraud and charter school fraud by for-profit managed companies. The legislature and their aides have had their pockets stuffed with money by John Hage of Charter School USA and Fernanda Zulueta of Academica. Only homeowners, not renters or apartment dwellers, will help with the extra dollars for schools and electives. If you care about traditional public schools, do not vote for Republicans at any level this year. Florida is near the bottom of education spending nationally, and compared with other states, large companies are scared away because Florida schools are so bad, they're told. The cuts of teachers, electives, and others last year was painful, and once teachers leave, they have many other options and will not return. I don't know if anybody's aware we have a teacher shortage. The all-one race schools have proliferated, with 12 all-black charter schools and a number of all-Hispanic schools and many, many more voucher schools. There's a direct correlation between parents' educational level and children's success in school. Our teachers and staff are vital in helping children from less affluent families to do well in school and in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Allison Fernandez. I do want to correct one thing. If you own property in Hillsborough County and the referendum for the additional millage passes, every homeowner, every property owner will pay that millage. However, it will be passed along in the form of rent to anybody who is renting. So tenants will pay it. They currently pay property tax because the property owner passes it on to the renter. So that being said, my concerns are financial as well as academic. I graduated from King High School and I went to college. I came out of King High School with 18 hours of college credit. My children, who I would think are a little bit smarter than I am, have never been able to attain the same level of math testing that I did. So obviously something changed along the way. So if we're preparing students for life, we're looking at an awful lot of students who are having to take remedial courses their first year of college, either by attending a community college or by attending a 4-year school and taking remedial classes at that school before they can even take a college level class. So what are we doing with instruction that we're going backwards? When I ask about differentiated programs at different schools, I'm always told we don't have enough money, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough money. Well, I'm a former auditor. So what I tell you is, how do I know you're spending the money correctly? I don't. And it's not your money. It's our money. We're the taxpayer and you are the caretaker, and we have entrusted that money to you because we said we are going to trust you to train our children, to teach them things that maybe they won't listen to their mother as well. But I do have 2 college degrees and I'm perfectly adequately capable of teaching my children. I just prefer not to. And they agree with me. So my question to you is, you all are elected to be the caretaker of this budget, to be the supervisor of this district. You are not members of this school district. You are not, you're employed in the sense that you might get a check, but you are not employees of the school district. You work directly for the taxpayer. And I would just like a lot more transparency in financial records. I'll be talking about the millage later at that hearing. But, you know, the concern is, if our budget is already 90% for human resources, salaries and payroll expense, other counties, the optimal is the high 70s to low 80%. If we add this millage and you pay teachers more, which I have no problem paying teachers what they are worth in the market, okay? You get what you pay for. But all we do then is keep our budget farther out of whack.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Gebhardt, and again, I need to issue an ironic explicit content warning for most of the adults in the room. Kids, please, if you're in here, please leave. Thank you. This book is called The Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. We have over 500 books by this author, and I think a lot of them I do know have similar content. Can I get my time back if I pause? Thank you. It's still going.
We will reset the time.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what happened. No, I mean, okay, go ahead. Pablo, 2:45 maybe? 2 minutes, 45 seconds? Okay, you'll just have an extra 30 seconds. Go ahead and begin.
Thank you. So there are 32 copies, including 3 in middle schools, and this book, again, is rated a 4 out of 5 on booklook.info. It's not even the worst of what we have in our district. So I'll read excerpts from a 5-page description of sex. This represents one of the 4 or 5 extensive sex scenes in the 626-page fantasy book. Kirkus Reviews says this book hits the spot for fans of dark, lush, sexy fantasy. USA Today says passionate, violent, sexy, and daring. This is in middle schools for 11, 12, 13-year-olds maybe? That sounds good for them, right? Page 21 says, "Come here," he growled. I pushed back the blankets, revealing my already naked body, and he hissed. He swept in, claiming me, branding me. I moaned, lifting and tilting my head to give him better access. His tongue swept my mouth again in time to the finger he slipped inside of me. My hips undulated, demanding more, craving the fullness of him, and his growl reverberated in my chest as he added another finger. I groaned his name as I shattered. He stretched out above me, his head lowering to my breast, and all it took was one press of his teeth against my nipple before I was clawing at his back, before I hooked my legs around him and he settled between them. I needed this. He paused, arms trembling as he held himself over me. "Please, Tamlin," I begged. He palmed my breast, his thumb flicking over my nipple. I cried out, and he buried himself in me with a mighty stroke. He pulled out a few inches, the muscles of his back flexing beneath my hands, and then slammed back into me, again and again. There's 2 more pages in this sex scene. And as I said, several more sex scenes in this book, 626 pages. If any adult outside of the school were to give one of your pornographic library books to a minor across the street from the school, they would be arrested and charged with a felony for violating the Florida obscenity statute, which prohibits any adult from distributing, quote, "any book with explicit and detailed verbal descriptions of sexual excitement or sexual conduct," unquote. That's what the law says. A felony, up to 5 years in prison for handing your library books to a student outside of the school. Florida Obscenity Statute 847012 for reference. Sadly, someone has managed to find a loophole that gives the tiniest wiggle room to schools, but only if the book, quote, again, this is the statute, by design serves as a major tool for assisting the instruction of a subject. Is there a middle school class called Dark, Lush, Sexy Fantasy? Does this book serve as a major tool for instruction? I'm calling on any lawyers listening to help me out here. I appeal to the board members with a conscience to do something. Take a stand for your students. Be a hero. And additionally, we will hold you accountable, legally if possible, or with our vote on August 23rd. This issue is not going away until we find a solution. We will be reaching out to the governor's office. And also last night, I presented your library book problem to 50 Hillsborough County concerned residents who were stunned and appalled. Word is getting out, and more want to see an end to the sexual ideologies inundating our school libraries. August 23rd, vote for Allie Legg, Patty Rendon, Stacey Hahn. Please, we must do better for our kids. We will miss you, Mrs. Snively, but know you'll continue to fight in other ways.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Davis, and those in the audience. Rick Warner, and I'm a member of the board's Financial Advisory Committee. The property tax referendum has certainly been in the news frequently the past few weeks. Lots of pros and cons being discussed. One of the cons most often pointed out is that other school districts face the same financial pressures. The facts are that while other large growing school districts like Hillsborough do face the same financial pressures, they are better funded to deal with them. Each of Florida's other 4 largest districts has a property tax referendum. The accepted measure of adequacy and equity of funding is dollars per pupil. In the most recent 2020-21 NEA annual ranking of the states, the national median of total per pupil funding, that's all sources, including capital improvement, is just a little over $15,000. Florida is at $12,291, 45th in that ranking. Hillsborough is a little lower than that at $12,020 per pupil. Our closest peers, Orange County at $14,206 and Palm Beach at $14,727, provide comparisons as they are similar in student enrollment and growth rate over the past 20 years. Hillsboro's total revenue is currently $2,200 to $2,700 per pupil below Orange and Palm Beach. The reasons why are a huge inequity in state capital improvement funding and the sales and property tax referendums in place in both of those districts. Passing Hillsboro's property tax referendum would provide $146 million or $625 per pupil. However, the gap in funding with Orange and Palm Beach would persist at $1,500 to $2,100 per pupil, even with a Hillsboro property tax referendum. Addressing that gap would require more funding from the state. It's also crucial to remember that Hillsboro's significantly lower funding has existed for many years, contributing to declining reserves as the district scrambled to find funding needed for its students. And closing, all the facts and opinions aside, the reality of the situation is that without additional funding, the Hillsboro School District will struggle to provide competitive salaries sufficient to retain experienced teachers and other staff.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Hines with Moms for Liberty. I'd like to read a letter provided by your media specialist on May 5th, 2022. I have been informed of your concern about the media resource entitled, which was left blank by them. As a media specialist and a chair of the school's Educational Media Resources Committee, I am responsible for coordinating the review of any challenged media materials. Within 7 workdays of receipt of a completed copy of the enclosed request for reconsideration of school media materials form, the committee will convey to review the challenged materials. The committee will determine the extent to which the material meets the HCPS criteria for selection to reach a school decision. A decision report will be prepared and sent to you within 30 days of the committee convening. Sincerely, media specialists. So we still don't get a name of who these media specialists are or the committees. One school didn't even bother putting their letterhead, just left the template blank on our review. None of them could be bothered to fill out the media resource entitled spot on the template and left that blank. Now, if I read it correctly, this request for reconsideration of school media materials should have had a response by June 11th. 7 days to gather your committee and 30 days to respond. Nothing at that point. Continued to follow up July 19th, and as of today, day 82, nothing. So you all sat up there, each and every school board meeting, got off on us parents begging and pleading with you to remove these pornographic books for the last year. Celebrated your professional media specialist and told us to follow your policies and procedures. We did that. We did our job. When are you going to do yours? You are more offended and work harder to remove history and mascots from our schools than protecting our children from being sexualized and groomed and removed, even respond to a book review. It's time to be honest with our community and just say it out loud. You guys want these pornographic, child grooming books in our schools. You may think you're witty and wait for public comment to be over and we can't respond to dismantle our talking points, giving your time to librarians and media specialists to discredit our message. The people see it. All of our fighting is to protect the minds of innocent children. It's heartbreaking to know that each one of you guys have such a different page when it comes to protecting our children. Since I seem to have a little bit of time left, I'm going to give you guys a few examples since no one bothered to go through your own policies and procedures and review this book. This book is called Triangles. It includes sexual gratification from the inflictions of physical pain or humiliation either on one person or another person. Sexually explicit content between adult and a minor. I close my eyes as he slips 2 fingers inside of me. Better get in and see your doctor before I have to whack off so hard my pecker gets blisters. He smiled, but I don't think he's being funny. 3 mouths, uncertain of what needs to be kissed. 3 tongues with a plethora of places to lick and spaces to explore. He finds nothing but skin and hot, wet pulsing. His fingers start there, work their way inside. My body screams for orgasm, but not like that. F me, I begged. These are just minor examples that I chose to be a little more.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Please be certain that children do not hear what I'm about to say. I would very much appreciate children leaving the room or if children are at home watching the television. My name is Sarah Hale Simmons. I'm a mom, a grandmom, a former reading language arts teacher, and I have a graduate degree in reading education. Also have run an educational nonprofit. Media specialists, reading teachers, language arts teachers are all taught in their university classes not to censor. I'm aware of this, but those of us who care and do the very best job we can in our classrooms, we censor because we know what is appropriate and what is not. And I would like to say that most teachers do that. However, I do not know because as time goes on, we are seeing that no longer are publishers and authors censoring. The things that are published now are so inappropriate and they're really just trash. And we didn't have to worry about that when I was growing up or really when I started my teaching careers. So we're called upon because we're honorable, decent, loving people who care about kids to do our own censoring. I know that if you're up here, you really do have a heart for kids or you wouldn't be spending all this time. I know if you're in the audience, you have a heart for kids. We have to be gatekeepers of our precious children's minds and hearts. As decent, loving human beings, we have to protect our children because these people who are making this material are not doing their jobs. We have to do our jobs. I'm specifically talking about, I'm sure you know this book, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. It was a Netflix series book. This is the story of a girl named Hannah who was in high school who committed suicide, and she left behind 13 tapes to be distributed to her friends, quote, friends, to let them know why they had contributed to this horrible act of hers. That was so sad. They are told that they're blamed for her suicide, partially blamed. This book is in 2 middle schools. Now remember, middle schoolers can be 10 years old, 11-year-old. It is in Buchanan and Pierce. It's in Tinker K through 8, Piso K through 8, and 9 high schools. Readers are introduced, and this is what I really don't even feel comfortable saying because the way I was raised, and I really don't like kids hearing this. Names, name-calling, sluts, instances of students feeling each other up, hard-ons, masturbation, drinking, drunkenness, rape, hit and run, nudity in the hot tub, etc. Remember, this was the most banned book in American schools in 2017. Why are we having this book in middle school, for heaven's sakes? In middle school, some of these little girls and maybe boys are still playing with dolls, 6th graders. I've taught them recently. All this does is it steals their joy, it scares them, it poisons hearts and minds, it glorifies suicide, and I just think this will be a lot for high schoolers to digest. I feel very passionate about this because I care about my grandkids, my kids, and other kids.
Thank you. Next speaker. Thank you.
And we will be trying to get this removed.
Thank you.
Too,
Next
please.
speaker. Thank you.
My information is much less titillating. Good afternoon. I'm Luann Tolbert, a retired educator and Hillsborough Public School advocate. By now, you have heard plenty of facts, figures, and opinions on the tax referendum. I would just like to tell you a little story. A few years before I retired, I was at the gym and dropped a 45-pound weight on my toe. I held back my tears, rushed home, took off my shoe, hoping not to find blood. Luckily, no blood, but it was bruising, throbbing, not pretty at all. I made an appointment with a podiatrist. He had me x-rayed and determined I had a small fracture in the tip of my big toe and recommended I wear a boot for several weeks. In case you don't know, the boot is a black, bulky brace that stabilizes your foot. Oh, there it is. There's the boot. That stabilizes, it stabilized my foot, and it Velcros around your leg. Unfortunately, my little mishap was in June, just as my husband and I were planning to go to New Orleans for our anniversary. The last thing I wanted to do was walk around New Orleans in a hot, sweaty boot. I asked the doctor, do I really have to wear this boot? What difference will it make? He explained that walking would be painful for several weeks, and if my toe didn't heal correctly, I could have long-term negative consequences. After hearing that, I wore the boot and my toe healed nicely. Why on earth am I talking about my toe? Our school district is like my toe. It is suffering and needs support to be healthy. The millage increase is the boot that we need to address current painful issues. And if we refuse to pay this tax now, negative long-term consequences are very likely. So wear the damn boot, people, and vote yes on August 23rd.
Thank you. And our final speaker for today?
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Williams, and I'm a parent of two very small children at Tampa Heights. They're in the audience right now. One is a first grader going into second. The other one is a third grader beginning third grade. And I just have a story for you guys, and I just ask that you consider options after I tell this story. This last year, we've had some issues because in school, children are allowed to read Mayan, which is an online database of thousands of books. Children are allowed to choose what they want to read. They're allowed to set their own parameters. The parameters are set by grade. However, my child had issues. My son had issues this last year, waking up screaming in the middle of the night, nightmares because of the books that he was exposed to. Apparently, he was allowed to read super scary books, ghost story books. Sorry, the phone locked, but I had a story for you. One of them was scary ghost stories from Asia, and another one was just myths and legends of different scary stories, and one of them was about a doll named Annabelle that they said that she was possessed and she was leaving scratches on people, blood was oozing from her, and he's a second grader. I've worked very hard to protect my children from these kind of things, and I trust when they go into school that they won't be exposed to things as a parent that I protect them specifically from, but they were exposed, and my family suffered for months and months because of it. So the thing with Mayan, there's no parameters as far as parents to go in and be able to set what their children are able to read and see. And I've even asked, I've wrote to Mayan, and I've also asked the teacher if there's any way that I could set a parameter to guard my children. And there's no response from either. So I just ask as a school board that if you guys could please revise this, because there's a lot of other stuff out there on Mayan also, not just scary stuff. And, you know, at different levels, children can handle different things, but still the parents should have the final say in what their children are exposed to in a school setting. So I just ask that you please consider that, and thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the recognitions and proclamations. Recognition of Superintendent Addison G. Davis as the 2022 Career and Technical Education Superintendent of the Year from the Florida Association of Career and Technical Education. And Scott Brooks, Executive Director of Career and Technical Education, will be highlighting this recognition.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Davis, and staff. I'm excited this afternoon to be able to come up here and have some of our folks join us for an award that we had nominated Superintendent Davis for earlier in the year. And so obviously we're here because he did very well in that competition. So this time I've got Ms. Marsanne Carr, who's the Executive Director of the Florida Career Technical Education Association, better known as FACTE in our world. And she's here and has a few words from their organization. They did have their their conference last week, but obviously it's a little bit busy. We had a lot going on, and so she was willing to come down here at our meeting today. So I want to thank her for that.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. Madam Chair and honorable school board members, I appreciate the job that you've done here in Hillsborough County supporting career and technical education also. But at this time, I'd like to recognize the Superintendent Davis. The Superintendent of the Year Award was established by the Florida Association for Career and Technical Education to recognize superintendents who have made significant positive impact on the field of career and technical education in their county and Florida. The committee looked at the applicants, and their main issues to address in these applications were a record of industry inclusion, individual school site coordination and support, program expansion, and student connections. Superintendent Davis has encouraged and supported staff to converse with your industry leaders to ensure the training provided to CTE students is aligned with industry needs, which is extremely important for Florida's economy. Under his direction, regional superintendents were charged with coordinating meetings with CTE staff at school sites to ensure that curriculum resources are aligned with the industry certification goals at each site. He has shown commitment to career and technical education through the expansion of innovative school-based initiatives in the process of redesigning workforce development in your district. Mr. Davis has launched a 4-phase program to create a construction academy, a medical magnet, a medical technical college, and a high school focusing on transportation and logistics. Over the course of the 21-22 school year, Mr. Davis was extremely supportive of a 10 high school regional initiative known as Future Career Academy. And for those of you, I am a past school board member and a high school principal and a career counselor, and I can tell you that when we graduate students from high school, they need a pathway that is directed for them in coordination with their wants and needs and their parents. And this program, the Future Career Academy program, identifies high school seniors who need direction for their post-secondary plans, provides them with training, guidance, a job shadow, and career fair experience. So he hit all 4 of the points that our awards committee was looking for. So at this time, Superintendent Addison, if you could come forward and let us present you with our award for this year. Chris stood in for you at the conference. he was a superintendent. Oh. This is really nice. Thank you so very much. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, so very much.
I don't know if I get 3 minutes, Chair Combs. But Ms. Carr, thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. And, you know, what a recognition. This recognition, it goes beyond me as superintendent. You know, you have 67 school superintendents that really lead in a way to really create the best experience for students. But this is about the work that Kim Bays, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Jargo does every single day, our teachers does, and this board that supports me to be able to allow me to be innovative. And everyone that's here today that creates the best experiences. So I accept this on behalf of Hillsborough County's entire team and know that we'll continue to be innovative, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we'll continue to lead in a way that creates the best experiences for students. So thank you, and I'm proud to recognize and be a part of this team and this board and the team that we have to create the best experiences. So thank you. I want to break it over here. Hey, you want me to move it? I'll move it. I want to break it. I put some water in.
That's a huge cup.
Congratulations, Superintendent. I know several board members wanted to comment. Member Perez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I want to thank the superintendent first because he's a groundbreaker when it comes to thinking out of the box. And thank you for coming, you know, to present this. You mentioned that you were a former career counselor. You know, when I went to Mr. Davis and talked to him about creating a medical magnet, you know, for mental health, you know, we went and we looked with Brooks. You know, we went across and called around and we created the first mental health medical magnet program in the nation. So he's out of the box thinker. And as of this year, we have a waiting list for that program. And we've already graduated 50 students, on the track to the mental health field. So, you're out of the box thinker when it comes to Hillsborough County Schools, along with Brooks, to make things happen here. So thank you, and very well deserved.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Gray?
Absolutely well deserved. I have to say the innovation and the eclectic variety of these career opportunities, they range from aeronautical engineering to, as you say, Member Perez, medical, all types of avenues. But it really matches the needs, the variety, the curiosities of our children. There's many of our students that now have an opportunity, because of your responsiveness, to really delve into areas that they may not have even imagined. And an example, of course, we have the welding, one of the top classes that's always sold out at East Bay High School. And well, we can go on and on, but I just want to say thank you for recognizing our superintendent. It's so important. And Superintendent Davis, thank you for recognizing the needs of our children and giving them the hope and the avenues to continue their studies. Thank you, Mr. Brooks, Chris Jargo. Both of you have done a tremendously magnificent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations, Mr. Superintendent. It has been a labor of love over many years to get to where we are today with regard to CTE. Am I right, Mr. Jargo and Mr. Brooks? Yes. I remember the birth of the Future Career Academy in the auditorium at Plant City High School, and how we started with about maybe 8 or 10 different companies, and how it has grown and changed to meet the needs not only of our community but for our students as well, because at the end of the day, that's what it's really about, making sure that we're making those connections for our students and giving them a path, a clearer path of opportunities to see what else is out there. We have such an amazing community full of a variety of opportunities in multiple industries, which has grown significantly over the last few years. And so it's a perfect match to have our programs meet a superintendent who can really embrace those types of opportunities for our students. So very well deserved. Thank you for being innovative. Thank you for recognizing that, so that maybe it can have a positive impact not just in our own school district, but in school districts across the state and country. So thank you, and congratulations again, well deserved.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Member Combs. Congratulations, Superintendent Davis. And I want to just thank Mr. Brooks and Jargo for all their support and help. And, we've seen tremendous growth with the Future Career Academies, the expansion of certifications and special CTE programs. And it's just really exciting. I was with a large group of teachers just this afternoon, and this was a topic of conversation. The importance of multiple pathways to graduation aligned with college and careers. And so I know it's been a real passion project of yours, and you've made it a priority, and we've seen so many impactful programs and the growth. And we hear from students all the time, too, have gone through those programs and have been successful and are really excited about their future. And when we can engage students in the CTE programs, for many of them where they were finding it difficult to find a purpose for school, have found their purpose. And, when you find your purpose, it fulfills you up quite a bit with a lot of motivation. So we've seen that, and we've seen our graduation rates increase because of this work that you're doing. So congratulations, everybody. Again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would be remiss if I didn't speak on this, because I realize, Superintendent, your job is very hard, and you have done a great job in Hillsborough County because you truly are preparing students for life. You know, when we are talking about academics, we are talking about CTE, we are talking about students. And you have always been a hard worker from day one. Sometimes you go really, really fast. It's hard to keep up with you. But Superintendent, I just want to tell you, thank you for all you have done for Hillsborough County. I mean, you've done a great job. And Chris and Brooks and all, I appreciate all of you guys because I know y'all work hard too. But again, Superintendent, congratulations. And I know you'll get many, many more Superintendents of the Year. I believe that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Superintendent Davis, I also wanted to say the same thing. Congratulations. I think we have to realize only 30% of our students actually complete college. So it's really, really important. The future is really about career and technical and making sure. Just today we were saying that often kids will graduate, will kind of flounder for a while, you know, work in different jobs, and then they'll find themselves in their mid-20s without any type of skill. So introducing this earlier to our students, and I see that our partners are here. I see Career Resources here. I know Yvonne Fry with the Future Career Academy, our apprentice program. We're doing so many different things to make sure that kids know that when they graduate, that we are not really looking at the end being high school. We're looking at starting at the very beginning at pre-K and then looking at making sure that they have a career and technical path. I'm very excited about the new programs that we're bringing, exciting about the marketing, and making sure that our kids have a lot of opportunities, because we're seeing over and over when you're calling for someone to fix your air or you need your car fixed, there's nobody there. It's taking so long. So we need to make sure that children know that there's a great path, and it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is going to go to that 4-year college. So I appreciate your work on this. I look forward. I know the board is very committed to this. I really want to thank Mr. Brooks, Mr. Jargo, and of course, Ms. Kim Bays, who was so influential and made such a great impact. So I want to thank the team, and we all look forward to continuing to work together on this. So thank you. We will go ahead now and I move to the consent agenda. I need a motion, a second, to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Hahn, and I have a second by Member Perez. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. I will now call Superintendent Davis to highlight our administrative appointments.
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, thank you so very much. Tonight we have 2 appointments we want to recognize for new leaderships within our school. Bless you. The first one we want to recognize is Mrs. Carol Fernandez. She started teaching in Hillsborough County at Thanona-Sassa. She was at Folsom. She was at Jennings. She also was a district specialist. She was a district support staff member as well, related to a resource teacher. She was currently the AP at South County Acceleration Academy, and she now will be recognized as the new principal at Eisenhower Exceptional Center. Mrs. Fernandez, will you please stand up? And you have to walk down. You got to walk down, Ms. Fernandez. We got to walk down the aisle. We got to create this walk. Congratulations to you. Thank you for your commitment to children. We look forward to supporting you in any way, shape, or form. And welcome to Eisenhower Exceptional Center. Thank you and congratulations again. Cheer out. Also, we have a leader that started in preschool as a preschool teacher, then transitioned to a preschool director in Pennsylvania, then transitioned to Florida, I believe, in 2010, and began her career in Hillsborough County. She taught 3rd grade, she taught 5th grade, was a math coach. 5 years was a math coach, at a district site, and then also was a district math level coach as well, and then has transitioned as the assistant principal at Sulphur Springs K-8 Community Partnership School for the last 3 years, which increased 92 points this year. It's my pleasure to introduce the new principal of Tampa Heights Elementary School, Mrs. Amy Metzler. You got to walk down. Congratulations. Thank you for your hard work. You got a beautiful facility, right, Shake? And, congratulations. We're here to support you. Everybody in this room is here to help you as well. So you, Ms. Fernandez, we are here. We care about you. Thank you for caring about kids. We look forward to being partners in this work. Congratulations. Very good.
Congratulations to our new principals and all the administrative appointments. I'm going to pause for a moment to give everyone a chance to exit the boardroom if they'd like to at this moment. We will now have a presentation from the finance team for the public hearing. Ms. Roe Johnson, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Good evening, board members, chair, superintendent, cabinet members, and constituents. I'm going to do a brief presentation to wrap up the fiscal year, which is not, we haven't entirely closed yet, before we go into the public hearing.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, you're waiting for the PowerPoint? Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, we're currently closing out fiscal year 21-22, and our fund balance projected is 149.9. That's as of June 30th, 2022. That's our pre-close projected fund balance. We had a one-time additional pay that we paid out to staff. And then we have an ESSER 2 that we're planning to move is 10.8 million. And we move also ESSER 3, 56.8 million. So we, as of June 30th, our pre-closing 2022, we projecting we'll have a fund balance of 195 million. So the ESSER 2, we're not finished moving payments from ESSER 2, but what makes up that 10.8 million is COVID response fund, reclassification of nurses' salary of 6.3, speech language contract of 2.1, and we still have a pending of 3.5 million to move for this fiscal year. That gave us a grand total of 10.8 million of expenditures been moved to ESSER 2. ESSER 3, we're still trying to wrap up ESSER 3 too. We did overall 56.8 million of expenditures to move. We still got pending 15.5 million in reclassification of nurses, counselors, psych, and social work salaries. And also we got pending art, music, and PE salaries of 27.9. If we don't get this approved by the state, we'll have this money to move for next fiscal year, but it's still pending approval from the state. Now we're going to go into our what is required for our public hearing trim law. Trim law was enacted in 1980. It's required in Florida statute on Section 200 that the district advertise the proposed millage rate in the annual budget. I require local effort, discretionary millage, and a capital outlay part of the millage. The trim process is inform the public about the legislative process that determine our ad valorem taxes, property taxes for Florida. This is a public forum for input for the public to give on our millage and our property in our annual budget that we're proposing before to be approved. This is the tentative budget, so we're not fiscally closed yet, and we're going to still be having funds moved. So this is not our final budget. It's just tentative right now. So the Florida Department of Education set the amount that the local school board must levy to be a part to participate in the Florida Education Finance Program. You have to follow the levy required by the state. Also, we're using for this public hearing, we're using second calculation from Florida Department of Education dated July the 19th, 2022. This is just a timeline of the calendar for the trim report. On July the 12th, you received the tentative budget, was submitted to the board in the board packet. On July the 19th, the Florida Department of Education certified the required local effort, and we received that. On July the 24th, we advertised our budget and the mills rate in the newspaper. Today, July the 26th, we're going to have the first public hearing at 5:01. And July 29th, we're going to have a proposed millage rate final hearing date set, and we're going to provide that to the property appraisal department. September the 8th, we're going to have the final public hearing at 5:01. And on September the 9th, we're going to adopt the budget submit it to the Federal Department of Education. Our proposed millage rate for 22-23, the state required local effort. This is the state set this rate is 3.2390. The discretionary operation is 0.7480. Supplemental is 0, giving us a subtotal of 3.987. Our debt service is 0. Our discretionary capital outlet is 1.5, and our total millage levy for this school district is 5.4870. I know it's hard to read, but this is our budget, our tentative budget that has been posted in newspaper. We're showing that we're having a budget over $4.1 billion overall. Our general fund is around total revenues of $2.1 billion. Our special revenues $130 million. Our debt service over $207 million. Capital is $811 million, and our internal service is $194 million. Set to appropriate all funds is $4.1 billion. As you can see in the general fund, we're going to have a beginning tentative fund balance of $194.5 million, but in this budget, and this is going to move because we're still closing out the fiscal year and it's subject to change, we're proposing that we're going to spend like $7.3 million, so we're in operational deficit with this if it stayed the same. And we're supposed to end a fund balance for this fiscal year 187.2, but it's subject to change, so we're not going to really focus on those numbers. So the next slide is show how our taxes are commuted. We start with the assessed value, whatever your assessed value at home, so you commute this, you can contemplate how much your cost is yourself. We take out the $25,000, everyone. It's a flat rate of $25,000. You get your taxable value, which we're showing on this slide, $175,000. We divide it by 1,000, which gives us $175. You multiply by the millage rate of 5.48, and this is what the property tax remitted for school funding for the fiscal year for a taxpayer who owns a property value of $960 for the year. What does this mean? So, the average family would pay around $960 in property taxes on home assessed around $200,000. Over a course of one, that's the average daily rate of $2.63 a day towards education. Now we can enter to the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Please adjourn the regular school board meeting and open the public hearing on the tentative millage rates and budget. We will close the regular school board meeting and open the public hearing for the millage rates and tentative budget for fiscal 2022-2023.
Adopts the tentative state required local effort millage rate of 3.2390 mils. It is also recommended the board adopt discretionary operating mill rate of 0.7480, the local capital improvement rate mill of 1.50, and a debt service of 0.
May I have a motion, a second, to adopt the fiscal year 2022-2023 tentative millage rates as presented? I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Washington. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the proposed millage rates or rolled back rate? Okay, you will have 3 minutes to speak. You may begin.
Good afternoon, Allison Fernandez. I would like to ask if there has been any workshop or information that you can share with the public about what the current funding would be to the state. I understand it goes through a complicated process before they calculate the per pupil funding to the district, but do we know how much increase in funding will be deposited with the state as part of the increase in property taxes, the increase in property values that we have seen across the state? In general, even if you keep your millage rate exactly the same, more money will be flowing into the state to be calculated and given out to the districts. And I haven't seen any discussion about that. So I want to ask if that information can be shared. I also want to ask, we talk a lot about that the state doesn't fund our students adequately. Our per pupil funding is not adequate. And I have asked often for this district to actually build what the true cost of educating a student is, instead of saying we need more money, we need more money, we need more money. Because if you're someone like me, I don't really trust that the money's being spent appropriately. I want to see legitimately what the cost is to educate a student. Here's an example. We have a behavior program that's not a discipline program, but a behavior modification program that last year was $45,000, and in the upcoming school year is budgeted to be $782,000. And the previous 3 years it was $45,000. Why is it $782,000 this year? 90% of our general fund budget is staff. Other districts do not have 90% of their general fund budget as payroll expense. So they're managing, they're paying, they're doing what they need to do. That tells me they've allocated their funds differently and they're paying their people accordingly, and maybe they have less overhead of staff. So those are the kinds of questions that I think need to be answered, but I really would like to see a discussion, and a very robust discussion, about how the state calculates spending, how much money is expected to flow in to the basic model before it gets allocated per pupil, because most people don't understand how that process works. And then the other thing is, I'd really like this district to build a true cost of what it takes to educate elementary, middle school, and high school students, so that we have some actual facts to stand on when we're asking for more money. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark Lutho, Largo. We're getting the millage first. Remember how you tried to do your hearings with the millage and the budget together, contrary to law? It's good you do it right now. But this year's proposed tax levy, $868 million, going up. Yeah. That's good. Talk about the where it's going coming up with the budget here.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Rob Creed, CTA. We've had speakers talk about building smart schools. We're the three little pigs. We don't even have money to build our houses of straw, never mind brick. And we're talking about building smart schools. We can agree that we need that, but we don't have funding for that. We have speakers talking about the free market should determine what teachers make and what educators make. We have thousands of openings. Guess what? The market needs to do better. Millage is the rate. The millage rate needs to be increased to figure out a way to get employees working with kids. We had schools, we had increased our grades because of the hard work of the teachers. Those that are working there. 90% of our money going to teachers, that's incorrect to begin with, but this is a person-driven business. We're dealing with kids. We need more adults in the building. We need to raise our school grades. The only way we're going to do that is to attract the best and keep them here. The market is failing us right now. So millage is the way we're going to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional speakers? Okay, please vote when your lights appear. Yeah, we can open up. It was opened up. Nobody had asked. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. There's going to be several opportunities to speak. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Johnson, I've gotten a few questions about this, and I just want to ask these publicly so we can clarify. So the required local effort millage is the amount that we can recoup from the property taxes to put towards our revenues, correct?
That's correct.
And we went through this last year. We had a very lengthy discussion about it. So right now it's being decreased. Is that correct?
The millage rate is decreased, correct.
So that means we're going to be recouping less revenue from home property taxes under what we're passing right now.
No, but tax values went up, so the rate is down. So we're doing a property tax increase.
So this is how, when we talk about how the state has capped the percentage, if property values go up, when people say they don't understand how we talk about property values being capped, and people say, well, price values are going up, the housing market is huge, you're going to have this huge amount of revenue coming in. When we talk about how the state passed something in 2018 where they cap the amount of the property taxes that we can take, and not just in our county, but statewide. So all of the other counties contribute to this. Counties that have huge property values and waterfront properties, they all go into the same bucket, and then they readjust it down to everybody equally based on that percentage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we are going to be taking less of a percent this year than previous.
Oh, well, we get more local, but the state reduced our state proportionally by the amount we get an increase in local.
So how do we expect that to affect our budget overall? I think that's what most people want to understand.
Well, even though the rate has went up, it's a property tax increase. The state collects all this money and they distribute based on what they say they're going to give to the district. If they do an increase in our base, and that's what they did, we got a 214 increase in our base rate. That's how we get our any increases in our school district overall.
So you expect this to help our budget?
Yes.
To give us an increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Just to make it clear, crystal clear, when we talk about total millage rate, we're talking, just compare, say, 2010. In year 2010, what was the total millage rate, and what are we asking for in 2022?
Well, the millage rate may have been higher, but it's about how much revenue the state want to collect altogether.
Correct.
So if the taxable values go up, they usually reduce the rate because you're still going to collect more than they did in the previous year. That's what makes the rollback numbers be less than the actual local revenue equivalent rate. So our rollback is less. If they wanted to collect the same amount of revenue of last year, then they will roll it back to the, which is our rollback rate is, where's that? $5.0316.
Okay, so in 2010, is that what you're looking at?
I'm looking at our last fiscal year. So our rollback rate for this fiscal year is 5.0316. So if they wanted to collect the same amount of revenue they did last year, they will use the rollback rate of 5.0316. But currently, our rate is not that amount. Our total rate is 5.4870. So the state is going to be collecting more revenue totally for the state of Florida.
So if we look at, and I'm going to be very patient on this, but if we look at 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, if we look at that versus what we are asking, is it not true that the total millage rate was higher in the past? That's something that we need to resound.
Right.
So what in fact we're asking for is not a real increase in millage. We're asking for, perhaps we can put it very gently, a correction, if you will.
That's correct, but the state doesn't do COLA. So what you're seeing over time, no COLA increase was given to the school district when property tax value at the time. Over time, we didn't get a COLA increase. So the rate right now is lower than those previous years.
Okay, Superintendent Davis, could you maybe make the sentence structure where we can understand it? Comparably speaking, total millage rate in the previous years, is it higher or lower than what we're asking?
In previous years, it was higher. So, if we look at 2012, 2013, it was around 5.6 in the mill. As we currently sit right now, the mill is 3.6, and now they will drop it once again. So, with a increased mill, if approved by this community, it allows us to be able to address the compensation of our employees and expand visual performing arts, and at the same token, address, workforce development. We will still be less than we were 10 years ago. So, and we know that there's some balancing out that the department will do. But we definitely, from the mill, when looking at the actual number, that number will be lower than it has historically been.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we're not really asking for a millage increase. And the reality is we're just really not ahead of the game in 2022-2023 school
Correct.
year.
All that to say, through the chair, we would love to be in where we were in 2012, 2013, because we're looking at that when that was 5.6. This school district would have recognized close to $1 billion. $975 million would have came to our school district over that particular time, allowing us to be able to create new compensation packages, allowing us to address school improvement needs through whether not waiting for the last couple of years to try to be innovative and lean on the state for schools that are underperforming, and allow us to be able to address and expand CTE or programmatic initiatives within our school district at a faster pace than we are today.
Thank you, Ms. Johnston. Thank you, Superintendent Davis.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the more that we talk about it, the better it is and becomes more transparent. I do understand some of the concerns that were brought to the board today about understanding how it works, and even though I might be asking this question in a different way, similarly to some of the conversation, I think that it's important to continue to talk about it so that people can understand it. So I'm going to ask it another way. So because people are wondering, we've talked about the increase in property values and therefore the increase in taxable property value and how that is going to increase tax revenue for the school or the county, I'll say, for the county. And so will we realize an increase in local revenue due to the increase in property values, and how does that impact our budget?
Yes, we will be increasing local revenues, but we're part of the FEFP, which is the state funding formula. And when we receive the revenue, even though we get our local portion comes from our local taxpayers, the state reduce our state appropriation accordingly to any increase. So if we increase 50 million, the state reduce our state appropriation portion by 50 million.
Because I know that there is probably a misunderstanding in the public about, or an assumption that we're going to receive an increase in revenue simply based on the fact that our property values have increased significantly. My question also, in addition to that, is we still have a financial strategy without a millage increase. Has anything changed in your professional opinion about our financial recovery strategy? Are we on track? Are we where we planned to be if we don't have this millage approved by the constituents?
Yes, we do. We definitely have a financial strategy that's going to address our operational deficit, but it doesn't allow for giving increases or anything, enrichment programs or any other things outside of running this district and being out of operational deficit at this time.
Are we going to have any further workshop or where we can continually ask questions that we receive from our constituents? Because here's another question that I get is, well, does that mean if we don't approve this millage that all the music programs end and all of the enrichment programs end?
But that's the misnomer out there when we say if we can only continue our enrichment programs with this millage. So can you answer that question?
Yes, ma'am, to the chair. So any questions that the board may receive or our staff receive, let us know. We'll update our FAQs to be able to engage our community, and we can add that into the listen tours or listen and learn tours and community engagement connections as I'm going out to engage with our communities and civic leaders and parents. As it relates to any of the visual performing arts programs, this doesn't mean that any of these programs go away. Those programs will continue to stay in place. What it does mean, I'm going to speak positive, once it passed, it allows us to expand these initiatives and allows more than, around 15,000 youngsters to have exposure to art, to music, and to physical education. Whereas right now, if you look at kindergarten students that's being led by their standalone self-contained teacher that has to go out and lead all of these initiatives, versus us having a certified teacher in that particular area that understands the creativity in those particular content areas, and then while they're pushing in to cover those classes during specials, it also allows that teacher, that standalone stationary teacher, to be able, self-contained teacher, to have a planning period as well to go and train and also be able to have true PLCs.
Okay. I appreciate your response, and I just think the clearer we can be about that, the better for the public to understand what that looks like, because there is that, I think there is some assumption out there that we won't have enrichment programs. Yes, ma'am. They're going to end if we don't pass this millage. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Porter?
Yeah, just briefly, I want to make sure the board and the public understand that this is a public hearing to set the millage. So there are questions that are sort of bleeding over into the proposed referendum that would increase the millage. But for purposes of tonight's public hearing, you're talking about establishing the millage that's separate and apart from whether the referendum passes or not. And I think the term millage is on everyone's minds, and there could be some confusion about what this public hearing is about. It's not about the proposed referendum. It's about the state requirement of setting the millage. I think the questions that the board members are asking are super important and helpful, and I just heard that there could be some potential confusion about that. So this is just about setting the millage tonight, not about the referendum.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. And we also have several more motions to go through just on this process, so just wanted to remind everyone. So barring any further comment, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously.
It is recommended that the board adopt a tentative budget of $4,164,691,084.33.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. May I have a motion, a second, to approve the tentative budget? I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Vaughn. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the tentative budget?
Good evening, Allison Fernandez. I'm going to restate some concerns that I've expressed to this board before, and that is, I realize that over the course of a school year, we change the budget, we amend the budget as funding changes, expense changes, et cetera. But that leaves us with a moving target and nothing to really compare to say that our spending is within the ranges we expected or not within the ranges we expected. And I'll point out the behavioral program that is, I think, before you tonight, that's going from $45,000 a year to $782,000 a year. You know, that's the kind of thing that as a public taxpayer, I really want to know. Are schools spending what you expect them to spend? Are district offices spending what you expect them to spend? Are they spending within the funding that you have? The public really needs to have a lot more transparency about where the funding is coming from. Maybe you are able to amend the budget and spend money because you've received a grant, but maybe that grant is a one-time grant and you're using it to pay for ongoing expenses that will then you'll have to find a funding source later. These are all budget questions that I don't think are adequately answered in the course of your public reports. And I know you all get reports. You meet with the CFO and you get more detailed reports, but those never come out to the public. Also, I want to say that your staff, your accounting office, your CFO office is extremely small. You're running a $3.5 billion budget on a good year, and most companies with that level of funding and expenditures and spending that goes through would have more people in that office in order to provide you the reports and provide that information to the public. And I know when people like to cut costs, they say we need to tighten the budget. The first place they always like to cut is the accounting office. And I'm asking you to reconsider and consider actually beefing up that office so that we can have better transparency and better reports to the public. Because right now, all that happens is you set a budget, and then throughout the year you amend that budget, and then we have nothing to compare to say the spending in this category was acceptable, the spending at this school was acceptable, or we need to fund certain programs more, or we can fund something less. So that's what I'm asking you all to do. I know that's a broader question than just the budget numbers.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Look at these figures. This is under total revenues, transfers, and balance, capital projects. $811 million. For the board, $2.5 million. General administration, $32.5 million. For school administration, $109 million. Facilities acquisition and construction, $277 million. Central services, $206 million. Operation of plan, $142 million. Maintenance of plant, $28 million. Debt service, $84 million. You know, the problem is, how's that money spent? Is that getting the children's taught? Yeah, you want to raise money, but how is it going to be spent? You know, here's the hard sell. Hillsborough County voters must decide whether to raise their property taxes. The idiot at St. Pete Times says it was like raising your savings to pay your monthly light bill. Light bill? What are we going back to the 1920s? Before you had the AC? Oh, you know, you just have too much administration here. Too much paper pushing. You know, I mean, I talked to my wife, the former teacher, for 30 years about this too many times. You know, and what do I hear the superintendent say? An increase. No, it's an increase. And. Increase begins with a vowel. Yeah, we can trust what you're doing.
Thank you. Any other speakers before I move to the board comments? Yes, please. If there are any additional speakers, if you can please head to the left side of the wall, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jay Soto, and I am pretty much concerned for why is only one of these meetings instead of distributing this among the districts in the different districts in the borough. So more people could attend, more people can get more educated and understand what is it that is really going on in the school system and all that. Second of all, how much of all this money is really going to improve the actual learning of the kids? Are they learning real history? Are they learning math? Please, this is not a game. And it seems to me that's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Bohr, and I am a teacher here in Hillsborough County Public Schools, starting my 7th year, actually. And in my time at Hillsborough County, I've watched as my department units have been cut. I've watched programs cut. I've watched coworkers leave for better paying jobs in other professions and in other states. And I'm watching as inflation rises, and I'm looking at my grocery bill and wondering how I'm going to pay for daycare for my daughter coming up from this year. And I'm looking at my salary and asking, how do I make it work? I love my job. I love teaching. I absolutely love it. And I feel like this is what I'm called to do. I'm called to be a teacher. But I also need to be able to pay my bills. I have to provide for my daughter. I need more money. We need better benefits. I couldn't afford to put my daughter on my health insurance provided through Hillsborough County Public Schools. Instead, we had to put her on my husband's, and he works for Hillsborough County as a park ranger. Why can't I afford to have her on my health insurance? I thought this profession was one that supported families, and it doesn't feel like it right now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional speakers? Mr. Acree? Okay. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Member Combs. I'm trying to keep my comments about the piece of the whole hearing that we're working on. Right now we're talking about the budget, and we had some concerns about transparency when it comes to the budget. And while I understand that our budget is extremely complex with a lot of different moving pieces, I'm a little bit confused. I mean, we can't not make amendments. That's how every traditional budget works. You make a traditional budget, things change. A lot depends on what the state gives us. Grants come in at different points. I think we have all done a really good job of asking questions about the budget as things have come. We've spent many times talking many minutes about whether grants are going to fund things, whether Member Gray has talked about whether they're going to be sustainable. Every time you give us an amendment, it's very clear where it comes from, how that readjusts the budget, where it goes through. If there's any additional questions on that, we can always ask for a red book, or someone can reference the red book. There's a lot of transparency, although I think it's very confusing and complex, and I understand why people have a hard time following it. I think to insinuate that we're not completely transparent in the budget is misleading and concerning, especially with the conversations that we're having right now, trying to be clear to our community what our needs are. I think the other thing that is important, because I heard one of the speakers mention an item that was going to be on our agenda twice tonight, is that there's a lot of categoricals and different budgets. The budget that we're most concerned about and that we spend the most time talking about, that we've had issues with getting enough revenue for, is our general fund budget. a lot of the items that we talk about are funded by individual budgets. The item that they referenced 2 times tonight, and we'll speak about later, is funded under the IDEAS budget, which is a completely different budget, which has not, it does not come from our general fund. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have discussion about it. I pulled it so we can talk about it. We ask a lot of questions about different things regardless of what part of the budget they come from, categorical or not. I think we ask a lot of questions about funding in general. I just want to provide some clarity because I can understand that a lot of people feel frustrated that there's not a lot of transparency. And while I think that it is a very complicated budget to understand, and that's why we spend a lot of time talking about it, I think to insinuate that it's not transparent and people can't public record requests or follow along with agenda items, every single agenda item has a forecasted amount, which categorical that comes from, where the funding comes from. So I just want to be clear to people if they have concerns, the information is out there. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Snively?
Thank you. I was going to actually ask another question, but since you mentioned that, I think that, you know, there are a lot of different opinions about the transparency of everything that we do as a school board, and I don't know that it's necessarily that we're not transparent enough outwardly on our website or with public records requests or getting information from the school district of our budget. There's everything at your fingertips that you would ever want about our budget information online. But the issue, and I know I'm going to make Mr. Porter not happy by yeah, but it's more of a trust issue than anything else. The public just, the people who say that we're not transparent enough because we have not done a good job about creating and cultivating trust among people so that they trust us. We have a finance committee, public finance committee. We have a capital expenditure committee. People are asking for auditors. All of these things are taking us away from our own jobs that we're supposed to be doing. Yet the public's demanding it. So sorry, I regressed a little bit on that. But my original question, that's just to address that, just to say it's not. I don't think, in my opinion, it's transparency as much as it is trust. The other thing is something that one of the public commenters mentioned was our HR portion of our budget. I know that probably maybe 6 to 8 years ago, it was closer to 82% that we're spending a portion of our budget on human resources expenditures, and now it's 90%. And so I want to know if that's best practices. Do you have concerns about that particular percentage? What are you doing to manage that so that it doesn't keep creeping upwards? Can you talk a little bit to some of the concern that has been brought forward to us this evening about that percentage?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're definitely under 90%. We do believe that that's a large number. We really, a sweet spot would be somewhere between 85 and 87%, but it's also being able to address the unique needs of our schools. So if that number needs to creep up to 88% or 89% based on needs, and the biggest thing is how do you leverage categorical and federal dollars and alleviate general fund dollars? I'm not afraid of it being at 88% or 87 or 89% if we're managing all the resources and dollars available in being able to look at IDA funding, be able to look at title funding, all to be able to serve children. So, you know, for us, that number doesn't, I'm not afraid of where the number is in the tall 80s. I'd love for it to be in a sweet spot of 87, but it's just based on our unique needs and also being able to carve out all the different financial opportunities we have for flexibility to add positions and people where needed.
I thought those are valid concerns to bring up operationally, and I think the clearer we are about what your fiscal plan is to manage that percentage so that it doesn't continue to creep up too far based on best practices among school districts. But I also understand that it is a challenge to, you know, we want to meet the needs of students as well. So it's a delicate balance trying to find that sweet spot to spend the right amount on human resources. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. And I just wanted to make a couple comments. It's just really very hard to hear teachers and see what's happening in our society. It's just very, very challenging right now. But I think over and over we talk about trust, and I think we have to remember that more than the majority of people sitting up here weren't here 2 to 3 years ago. So the majority of us are new. And so when we keep saying not trust, all of this, when you say that, I think it builds distrust because things have been very, very transparent. All the information is available. The superintendent has worked extremely hard at balancing this budget, as well as Ms. Johnson and the entire cabinet. So I think it's really important when we keep talking about, mistrust, and I see this on social media all the time. A lot of that is the majority of the superintendent and the majority of the members weren't here at that time. And so we are trying to do what we need to do so that way teachers can work. So we don't have multiple people who can't even pay for the bills, who can't even live. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous that we are just continue to just blame things just so we don't have to look at that we are underfunded on a state and local level, that people keep blaming things and playing the shell game. But at the bottom line is that teachers and this budget are completely underfunded. So it's not about trust. It's about people just not wanting to prioritize education in our community. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to just local, state, maybe even national level, where educators are not being prioritized. So we can't continue blaming things and saying this, but bottom line is we need to do something, and it can't say, oh, it's because we're not trusting. I think it's just very misleading. And the more people say that on the dais, the more it builds mistrust. So it's just the way I feel. Thank you. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, and I hate to use the word again, trust, but when we, as the public hears lack of transparency, or they remark on the lack of transparency, they only need to look at 4 items to see the entire, how our budget is rated in the most effective way. Superintendent Davis, name the 4 audits that we have gone through, and then I'll have an explanation on I'll have Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson, what are the KPMG? Go ahead. What are the audits?
KPMG is our auditing firm. They audit our financial statements.
Correct.
For transparency and that they're not misrepresented.
The Council of Great City Schools.
The Council of Great came in and assessed.
Okay.
We were in the Gibson report. And the Auditor General comes in every other year to look at our financials. Auditor General office.
Expand, Superintendent Davis.
Yes, Madam Chair, but every one of our finances gets audited related to how we expend any of our, we have evaluators that come and look at how we spend Title I, how we spend Title II, Title IV, how we spend workforce development, how we spend Perkins. All of those are reviews that we either have an evaluator that come in to review, or the state will audit as well. And every audit that we've had within this district has been clean, and it says we're moving in an efficient manner, spending money in the appropriate manners as outlined by regulations.
Okay, so we had the KPMG, I hope I got those that correct, but we also had the Council of Great City Schools, and we had the CAFR report. What we're saying is every one of those audits, we have shown excellence, not mediocrity, excellence. And every avenue that is being questioned this evening, if one would look at any of those audits, you would feel a lot more reassured as to how our district spends money and how it will spend money and where it goes, and everything is inclusive. So I would say, since we're on the dais and we have public viewing, I would invite any constituent, any parent, any concerned citizen, simply go to the audit, any of those audits, and then you can check out how we're doing. It's exemplary. Ms. Johnson, Susie Garcia, Stephanie Heaton, she's not here. You all need to be congratulated, and you're emblematic of financial stewardship, and so is this board. This board questions just about every nickel and dime. And I go around and I see every one of you members asking the very questions that need to be asked. So at any rate, that's my suggestion for anyone who's questioning our financial fidelity. and Superintendent Davis to you also.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Yeah, I'm going to make this short and sweet because I know we spent a lot of time talking about this already, not that we shouldn't. I would just like to say that, I think that there is intentionally a level of mistrust being created by policies that come out of Tallahassee, because I think that there is definitely an intention to destroy traditional public education. And a lot of the things that unfortunately I feel like have created mistrust have been mandates that have come down from Tallahassee, or things that we've had to try to carefully explain. When we get our per pupil funding increased, but there's also mandates that raise paying our employees $15 an hour more sooner, although that should absolutely happen, and we need to make that happen. Our employees should make livable wages. That's an unfunded mandate that we're not getting money from the state. That takes away from that per pupil. So there's a lot of confusing financial things that come from Tallahassee that this board has to discuss and talk about. And I think that if there is mistrust, a lot of it's being manufactured intentionally, because the more chaos that we have in our school system, the lack of trust that we have with school boards across the state, across the county, across the country, the easier it is to destroy traditional public education, and the faster parents are going to accept privatizing education. So I think a lot of this is manufactured, and I really encourage constituents and voters to pay attention as long as they are to our board meetings and the questions that we ask, and the way that we point out that a lot of what we have to do, unfortunately, is mandated from Tallahassee. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Snively?
Just 2 more cents, and then we'll move on. But I will say this, that we'll have to agree to disagree about the terminology used with regard to trust. I do agree that what Ms. Gray said, that our budget, our board is very, very capable of understanding and asking questions and making sure they're listening to constituents and getting answers and trying to be as transparent as we can. I think that, and no offense to anybody who serves on the Financial Advisory Committee or the what's the committee, Capital Expenditures Oversight Committee, the Oversight Committee, but when we create those types of committees that take the authority or the responsibility away from board members, because that is our responsibility, then I think that also creates a level of distrust, that we can't do our own jobs, that we have to have a financial advisory committee and an oversight committee to do the job for us. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I know we're digressing. Mr. Porter?
Yeah, I do need to speak about that for a second. I just want to react to something Ms. Snively said. I want to be very clear on the record that none of the committees you mentioned have any authority. You don't delegate authority to them for decision making.
I understand, but the perception is that there is, and that is perception is reality.
No, it's not reality.
I'm just saying for people it is.
Very important legal point. The Oversight Committee does not make decisions. It reports back to you just like the Financial Committee. And it's very important that the record be very clear about that. You have the authority to do that and no one else. So I understand the perception. I need to say that on the record. And then you do need to sort of focus on the budget at this point.
Let's get back on track, because we have three more motions, and it's fine. I mean, I can be here till midnight. I'm good. But, just so you know, we have like several more motions just along with this, and maybe we need to kind of engage more. Thank you, Mr. Porter. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Ms. Johnson, you'll continue on to the next one.
It is recommended that the board approve the resolution adopting the tentative millage rates and the tentative budget.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolutions adopting the tentative millage rates and tentative budget as presented? I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Washington. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the tentative millage rates and the tentative budget? Okay, board members, any comments? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously.
It is recommended that the board authorize staff to perform all tasks necessary to ensure compliance with the truth in millage, trim requirements of Chapter 200 Florida statutes.
May I have a motion and a second to authorize staff to perform all tasks necessary to ensure compliance with the truth, millage, trim requirements of Chapter 200 Florida statutes represented? I have a motion by Member Snively. I have a second by Member Hahn. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the authorization of staff to perform all tasks necessary to ensure the compliance with the truth and millage trim requirements of Chapter 200 Florida statutes? Okay. Board members, or is there anyone who would like to make a comment? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We will adjourn the first public hearing on the budget and reconvene the regular school board meeting. At this time, announce the final public hearing information. The final public hearing for the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget and millage rates will be held Thursday, September 8, 2022 at 5:01 in the Raymond O. Shelton Administrative Center at 901 East Kennedy Boulevard. Thank you very much. We will now resume with our regular board meeting. It is close to employee input, so I will go ahead and move.
Madam Chair, we have another 501 public hearing.
Oh,
on
yes,
policies,
thank you.
And we need to do that.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Porter. Public hearing on the adoption of the revised policies. Kristen Davis, Director of Government Affairs, will highlight this item.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Combs and board members and superintendent. So the policies before you, there are 5 in your packet. These you've all reviewed and discussed multiple times at the May 3rd board workshop. These policies, I should say, were reviewed, discussed, and moved forward at the June 7th board meeting. These policies were brought forward along with a notice of rulemaking that's required per Florida Statute 120. The notice of rulemaking was in the La Gazette, the Florida Sentinel Bulletin, and the Tampa Bay Times, according to Florida Statute, also available on the district website for public review and comment, as well as a hard copy. And now we are bringing it forward to this board meeting and for your adoption tonight. And I will turn it over to School Board Attorney Jim Porter to highlight.
Yeah, board members, thank you, Ms. Davis. So the policies that you're considering tonight, there are 3 regarding drug and alcohol-free workplace revisions brought forward by Human Resources that the board supported. 1 from Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with students with disabilities, and then 1 brought by 2 board members, Member Perez and Member Gray, on apprentices. And board members, there was discussion about this one, and I think it merits a further discussion tonight so the board's clear about what the issues are. You'll recall that you've received a letter from former board member Steve Kona and also an attorney hired by his organization that object to this policy. The concerns are twofold from what I could understand about the substance of the policy. One objection is that the number set in the policy of 12% is too high. And the other concern is that a violation of the policy would result in liquidated damages, and they object to both of those. I will tell you for the record that the policy is mirrored after ones adopted by the county and the city, and they've been in place for several years. I also think it's important to point out 2 provisions in the proposed policy that don't completely address the concerns raised by people opposing this, but it's important for the board to understand. And these are in lines 88 through 91. This policy will not apply if A, it is prohibited by or in conflict with federal or state law or the terms of a federal or state grant applicable to the construction project. So if there's a conflict with state law, which they allege, this would not apply to the extent that it violates the state or federal law. Or, and this is a very important one, the superintendent determines in writing that applying the policy to the construction project is not in the best interest of the district. So there is an out there that the superintendent has the power to waive that. I will tell you that the attorney that sent the letter has threatened litigation. There's always a risk that that could happen, but I've conferred with the city attorney and the county attorney, and excuse me, and there's been no litigation regarding from their policies. The policies are there for your consideration. If either board member Perez or Gray wishes to speak about it, it would be appropriate since they are the ones who brought this forward.
Member Gray or Member Perez, would either of you like to speak on this? No. Okay. Okay, we will continue to move forward. Okay, at this time, Ms. Davis, do you want to open it up to questions from the board members, and then we'll move to a vote?
Yeah, we need a motion on the floor.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if we have a motion, and this is for all the policies.
I need a motion and a second to approve the adoption of the revised policies.
Put that on the floor, and
Yeah.
so the motion will be for all 5 policies.
Yes.
If there are some board members that are concerned about some of them, we can break it out. But let's just get the motion on the floor first, and then we can deal with procedurally how you want to deal with that.
Okay.
So the motion will be to approve all 5 policies, and then we can break it out afterwards.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to approve, the revised policies, all 5 policies. I have a motion by Member Perez, and I have a second by Member Washington. We will now open it up for discussion. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, stating the point where you made that the superintendent can send a letter stating if he feels that there's some conflict with this policy in regards to the project specifically.
Sorry.
Would you like me to repeat that?
Please.
Hey, reset my time there, Pablo. Okay, I just have some question in regards to the point that you made where upon this policy, if state law is in conflict, that's something we have to reevaluate, as well as if the superintendent is concerned with the job, he can express concerns and say that we don't have to honor this policy on a construction job. If that is something that happens, first of all, do you intend to do that on some projects?
Through the chair, we won't know until we get actually into each project. What we do want to do is make sure we comply with a policy implemented by the school board as majority. So, we will continue to work through our subcontractors and make certain that they can obtain and meet this threshold. If they cannot, and we need something seriously done at a school in order to create a build or to address a maintenance issue, then we may have to waive that process and that policy. Mr. Farkas, I know we've had a light conversation. I know you were doing research. Was there a percentage that we were waived in the city or the county that you have learned of today?
We don't have the hard data, but yes, we've heard that happens on a regular basis depending on the type of work, because there's apprenticeship programs in certain types of work and not in others. So I plan on bringing that back to the board, but I don't have that data.
Okay. So through that, we'll get analytics and look at what's, while this policy is implemented in the city and the county as well, we can determine the overall impact of what they've had to waive. Not saying that we would match that intensity or that number, but would give us a good indicator of what vendors are able and not able to do as we continue to have projects being able to build in the future.
Thank you. And then, so if that's the case, will the board be notified of that? Does that become an agenda item? Is that something we can have discussion on?
It would not be an agenda item. This policy gives the superintendent the authority to do that. You could always request, for purposes of transparency, that be presented to the board or communicated to the board, but it would not require board action. It's a superintendent decision.
And how can I officially request for transparency that be presented to the board? What would be the proper, would that be now? Would that be if the policy passes?
I think there are 2 ways of doing that. I mean, you could make a motion, or I think the superintendent's indicating that he's willing to do that. So it's, yeah. And it would be public record, so there would be no reason to hide it. It would just be making it clear that the board is going to get that information when it happens.
And I think Superintendent Davis, you wanted to follow up on that?
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, anytime we come up in a situation where that has to be waived, I'll ask staff to engage me in that process, and I'll turnkey and engage the board as well. So we will have consistent communication when, as always, in my long emails, I try to make it short. I'll put rationale with that process so that you can be able to have speaking points if anybody ever asks the question of the rationale why did we have to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Member Combs. I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Porter.
Sure. So the request is going to be to vote on these separately. So the technical term is you're going to vote ad seriatim, but the effect of that would be that you would vote for each policy individually. So that's a procedural motion she's making. It needs a second, and you would vote on that now. So
we can group the first 3.
you can group the first 3, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be 3 separate votes.
Yeah. So if you could get a second on that, and is that,
Member Snively gave a second.
Yeah, make sure the board understands what that is. It's just you would just, instead of voting for all 5 at once, you would vote for them separately. So if the board has no questions, just vote on whether you're okay with voting for them separately now.
Okay, and I wanted to clarify. I thought the first 3 would be together. Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
And then the 4 and 5. So we'd have 3 separate votes.
Yes,
Just to be clear, the first 3 are all about the same subject, but they appear in different parts of our policy manual because they affect different cohorts.
Can I say why I think it's important?
Sure,
Oh,
absolutely.
sure. So, I mean, I'd hate to, if there's one or two that we're not going to support, I'd hate to not be able to support some other policies. So I think and when we talk about transparency, it's just that much more transparent to see how we all fall on these. So I appreciate any consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll go to vote to see, because we have a second, to see if we're going to break it down. So if you would like to break it down into 3 different votes, and you're going to vote yes. If you'd like to vote for them separate and all together, then you would vote no. Okay?
Or the board, then
The board. Okay, and please vote when your lights appear. Okay, and it passes with 6 votes to go ahead and break it into 3, and with Member Gray voting no. So we'll go ahead and start with the first 3 policies.
I think Ms. Snively.
Miss,
Speak on the. Did you want to speak on?
you wanted to speak on the first 3?
Yes, if one of the first 3 is the apprentice policy.
The apprentice is the last one.
I'll wait till it's appropriate. Thank you.
That's what I thought. Okay, so what we'll do is go ahead and move forward, and we don't need a motion. We'll go ahead and vote on the first 3, or do you need a motion?
Vote for a motion now for each.
Okay. Okay, I need a motion and a second to vote for the first 3.
So that's policies 1124, 3124, and 4124 regarding the drug and alcohol-free workplace brought by Human Resources.
Okay, I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Washington. Any discussion on those first 3 policies? Okay, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Now I need a motion and a second to vote on the policy, Mr. Porter.
Yeah, this is policy 5630.01 brought by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion regarding the seclusion and restraint of students with disabilities.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve that policy. I have a motion by Member Washington. I have a second by Member Gray. Any discussion? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Now the final policy, which is the apprentice policy.
And that's policy 6320.03 brought by Board Members Gray and Board Member Perez.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve. I have a motion by Member Vaughn. I have a second by Member Washington. We will now move to discussion. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Why are we doing this again? What's the intent?
This was the policy brought by 2 board members, and it was to increase the apprenticeship program in Hillsborough County, is my understanding.
Is that the intent? So I guess the reason I ask that is because there's a lot of other ways we can increase the apprenticeship without having to force a mandated situation onto our school district. So here are my questions. And Mr. Farkas and Mr. Davis, I don't know that you'll have, I think you even alluded to the fact that we don't have any data. When did this get passed by the city, and when did this get passed by the county, and do we have any data around whether this even works to improve the apprenticeship percentage or not? And do you have any idea what level of difficulty logistically or operationally this causes for our school district, or what it has caused for the city and the county?
Yes, ma'am. We're in that process right now to determine the overall impact as the policy has moved forward. I don't have the actual data in front of us. I know that we talked about obtaining that. Preliminary data indicates, or conversations indicates, there's been some hardships, and that the majority of some of the work had to be waived due to the fact of the inability of small companies and corporations' ability to have proper funding to create the apprenticeships. It's not that they are not willing to do that. It's just being able to have the funding sources to create that mentality within their organization. Mr. Farkas?
The only other thing I would add to that is that we need to, internally, we've had some conversations about it with the construction team, is the mechanism to have accountability and account for the actual percentages. Who's going to track that? Someone on our side of the house has to track that, and we don't have anybody to do that right now, so we'll have to talk to Mr. Davis about an FTE.
So that's going to be another district employee that you'll have to add to your team to track this. another expenditure
I
for
assume
us
so.
as
If
well.
someone's doing that in each of the other entities that we've talked to, there's a person who's responsible for tracking that, so I would assume so.
Well, all I'll say is that I understand the intent. I think it's good. The intentions are good. I think we do want to bolster our apprenticeship programs. We want to create opportunity for apprenticeships and apprentice work that's out there. Personally and professionally, as a business owner, I wouldn't want someone telling me or mandating to me how many customer service representatives I have to have, how many salespeople I have to have in my office, how many office administrators I have to hire when I know what it takes to run my business efficiently and effectively. I think this, in my opinion, is a Band-Aid on a broken arm. Systemically, we probably could be doing other things that bolster our apprenticeship programs and create work for those individuals. And so I don't know that forcing the issue is necessarily going to solve the apprentice problem. And honestly, there's really not any teeth in it if you have the authority or the autonomy to just say, well, we'll, if it doesn't meet the requirements, we'll bypass it and move on. So that really doesn't solve any problems either. So I think the intentions are good here, but I think there are deeper issues with the apprenticeships and creating opportunities for people that don't necessarily require a mandate. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Hahn.
Thank you, Member Combs. So, we talked about this at length at the workshop, and I think one thing we all agree on, and Member Snively just said it, was, that we want to expand our apprenticeship programs. I disagree with other board members that this is an effective way to do that. I also am thinking, I'm thinking about something Superintendent Davis said about the hardship of some of the smaller companies. And, I know we've all spoken about our minority businesses and contractors that work with our school district on different jobs, and that we want to make sure that they have an equal opportunity. And, many of our minority businesses are small businesses, and, it will be very challenging, if not impossible, to meet this criteria, thus making it impossible for them to participate in the bidding process. So, I do worry about things like that. I understand that the city and the county does this. They make decisions around policy that's good for their organization. That doesn't automatically mean that it's good for our organization. And Mr. Farkas also shared that, we could potentially have to hire somebody that takes away FTE. We just had a very serious conversation about funding and trust and all of that. So, again, and I will agree with Member Snively on the fact this doesn't really have any teeth as a policy if at the end of the day the superintendent can, work around it at his discretion appropriately. It's, my feelings haven't changed on it, though I understand the importance of these apprentice programs. My brother went through an apprentice program. He teaches in the union apprentice programs, and they're very important. But, mandating how folks run their businesses and putting the minority small businesses at risk is, it's a no for me.
Thank you, Member Hahn. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this because I think we're going to be discussing this for a while or for a few more minutes, and I really want to make sure our employees, they're going back to school any day now. So I want to make sure that we think about their time. So I'm going to go ahead and move to employee input, and then after that we will go back to this because we already 15 minutes ahead of time. Is that okay, Mr. Porter?
We need to officially recess the public hearing and re-adjourn, or re-adjourn the school
if that's okay with everyone, because I feel like it's going to be quite a bit of time before we actually vote on this. So I'm going to go ahead and recess that. Is that okay? Is everyone okay with that? Okay, we'll go ahead and recess the policy and move on to employee input, because we do have several employees here today, so I want to make sure that we consider their time. We'll now take the employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it's sometimes difficult for employees of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we're creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We're setting aside 30 minutes for employees to the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about the issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and I will call the first speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, Rob Creed, CTA. I'm talking about the same issue with millage. I've heard a lot of things tonight. My feistiness comes from the fact that public education is under attack in our state, and we need to do something about it, and this is something that we could do locally right here and now. I can really dive into that. We dress it up in different ways in the state, but ultimately we are starving our public schools, and I talked about that earlier. We have over 900 instructional vacancies, over 700 ESP vacancies right now in our district. This issue is not getting better. The millage is a one solution and one way to help it. It is not a magic wand. I want to be very clear about that. But understand about what taxes do. We are a donor district, meaning we make a lot of money here in Hillsborough, and we spend that money. We send that money to other smaller districts in Florida to help fund them. That is fair, that is equitable, and that's right. But understand that what we're asking for in millage is money that we would generate here and spend here on that which we believe in. Strong public schools. Democrats, Republicans, those without party affiliations, we all agree we want strong public schools despite what's happening in Tallahassee. So we need to do this. We need to do this now. I mean, I understand that the financial climate in which we're asking for this is tough, but we have to do this for our students and our schools and our communities. So let's get this done, and I thank all of you for that.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi. Good evening. I was going to say afternoon, but first, at the time the school board members made their final comments at the last school board meeting, I was the only employee who spoke. Two of the school board openly chided me for not celebrating the work Hillsborough has done. One stared at me the entire time they were making their comments. These two used their authority to pressure educators to not complain, and I was made an example of. These acts will stop other employees from speaking out and should not be allowed on this board. My main point in speaking today, though, is a concern about bargaining in the millage. It seems to me that while it looks like bargaining is going on, it'll be dragged on until the millage vote is complete. There are real fears going on both sides. If it passes, there's a fear that the compensation that has been agreed upon by HCTA in the district will either be ignored or some other definition of compensation. If it doesn't pass, there's a fear that educators will be blamed for it. The fear comes from years of deceit and abuse. How can you fix it? This is some suggestions. The trust must be earned back slowly. I know you guys have been talking about that, but as someone who's worked here for 15 years, I don't trust that things will happen the way that they always say they will happen. But in terms of the millage, I would suggest real information sent directly to employees. What compensation? Is it an extension of our current salaries, or will it be blended in with any steps that we receive? Will it be blended in with other benefits? When will we receive it? The money doesn't come immediately after it passes, so at what point should we start to see those monies? Who receives it? From my understanding, all school board employees will receive it, but maybe I'm wrong. If I'm correct, then spell it out. District resource teachers, assistants, Mr. Davis, his cabinet, and so on. Not that none of those people deserve it, but state it. I understand that some of this needs to go to bargaining and be approved by you, but surely you have some thoughts of the questions that I've laid out. My husband and I have received our mail-in ballots, and this is one item we don't know how we are voting. I will also be at my school's information session on August 2nd, and we will be seeking out our answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. By now, I think we all know about the teacher shortage that's affecting our area and our county as a whole. I want to make sure we understand that we understand this is a school staff issue. We're short teachers, paras, custodians, bus drivers, lunchroom staff. The public and even the administration at the top of HCPS seems to be scratching their head to figure out why. What do we do? How do we stop this? Here in Hillsborough, your teachers union and employees have told you exactly what they need to stay. Teachers and school staff need to be able to feed their families. Teachers and school staff need their contracts honored, not broken daily to account for your understaffing. They need to be able to work one job only so they can be the best for their students. Yet we keep hearing the same words every year. No to recurring expenses. We just can't do it. Next year we'll be in a better position to... We're not even asking for a raise, although lots of our neighboring counties are passing them for their employees. We're asking for the published pay schedule and steps to be followed so that employees are paid according to their actual years of service. We did the planning, the PLCs, the data dives, the teaching, the extracurriculars. The teachers and school staff kept this district afloat during the pandemic. The teachers and school staff are responsible for the great data that the district is praising themselves for on the news. And now after all of that, the negotiating team shows up and says, sorry, we can't give you your step for last year. And you know what? Not this year either. How can you keep making working conditions unbearable, not honor prior agreed on salary schedules, and still wonder how to fix this? When the district negotiating team showed up for their first bargaining session, they showed up with nothing. No offer prepared at all. The downtown administration has been flippant in their treatment of teachers and the school staff here. The way to fix this is to honor and agree to HCTA's proposal that gives employees their proper steps, both of them. Recognition for our years of service. Pay our ESPs a living wage. Not just if the tax referendum passes, but before that, because it's the right thing to do. And it might stop people who are on the fence and undecided yet from leaving and creating more vacancies than the 1,000 you already have.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. I wanted to take a moment to thank each of you for your time and service to our county. Thank you, Ms. Combs, Ms. Vaughn, and Mr. Washington for deciding to run. I can't wait to see what you accomplish in your first couple of years. Thank you, Ms. Hahn and Ms. Perez, for your 2 years dedicated to our students. Thank you, Ms. Gray, for your 4 years of hard work. Thank you, Ms. Snively, for 6 years of servicing part of your area. And finally, welcome to our county, Superintendent Davis. Your first 4 months with us have been very illuminating. You might have noticed that for a math teacher, my numbers are a little off. But I assure you, no mistake has been made on my part. You see, as I enter my 8th year teaching with this county, I am still coded and paid as a teacher with 5 years of experience. For 2 years, teachers have been held on the same step on the pay scale. And we are being told that yet again, we will not gain our earned year of service. I want you to think about your past 2 years of service to this county. And now I want you to imagine your leaders informing you that those 2 years will not be recognized. Additionally, any accomplishments this upcoming year will also not be recognized. Oh, don't worry. The district will still share your accomplishments with stakeholders as if they were the ones pulling ELP groups, planning into the night, and working tirelessly with students to raise the school grade. But the teachers that have worked so hard for success of our students will once again go unrecognized. Telling us that there is no funding for our already earned step increases is the biggest slap in the face you could give your teachers, those of us that are left. What other job would let their employee complete 1, 2, even 3 years of loyalty and then inform you that those years don't count? Why are our schools filled with vacancies? I'm sure I don't know. give us our earned rate of pay, give us our step increases. Thank you.
Thank you. And that closes the employee input portion of our meeting. We will now reconvene to the public hearing on the adoption of the revised policies. We're discussing the final policy, which is the apprentice policy. I know Member Snively, Member Hahn, you spoke, and now we will move on to Member Perez. Thank you.
So our students are hesitant. The students that really don't want to go to college, but they're hesitant on pursuing our apprenticeship programs. You know, as a district, we collaborate with many organizations here throughout the district. So collaborating with our unions in order to encourage our students to follow their apprenticeship programs is a plus for us in this district. And I believe that it's encouraging to our Hillsborough County schools because it'll maintain our students in school. It'll reduce our dropout rate, and it'll send our students the message that we're working for their future, and they will be more apt to pursue not only their high school degree, but a career that will maintain them here in our community in Hillsborough County.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't really feel like necessarily to make a comment, but I will because everyone else seems to be. This was a policy that was vetted and voted on during a workshop completely, and it was voted unanimous in terms of yes. Almost unanimous. We had a consensus. Kristen, did you want to?
I was just going to make sure that the board, we do know that there's no voting at workshops, so I just want to make sure.
We had a consensus. All right, a unified consensus. And then we also recognize that the City Council and the BOCC also had consensus. And when we look at, and to Member Perez's point, when we look at the absolute quality the union gives for our students, their vision is for all high schools to have apprenticeship situations where there's a direct pathway to a career. And this is a very high quality, very highly recognized by the state regulated. And the hypothetical part of the argument about we need a certain percentage or we will need an employee to keep track, that is hypothetical. We know that we have managed so many ways to make sure that if there is a need to be done, we recognize that this district can make it happen. Those are barriers. What you're mentioning, folks, are barriers. The superintendent, you know, is he going to go to a job site and really recognize the fault, or a contractor is going to come to him? You know, what's going on is we're establishing needless barriers to a very sound apprenticeship program that has been under, at least from what I experienced, has had consensus from this board. So I just think we're rehashing what really has already been discussed. I apologize for rediscussing it, but also I think the contractors will enjoy a huge workforce to match the amount of building going on in Tampa, which is huge. And also the pay will also be very recognized by our students. And I just think it's a win-win situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I'd like to talk about this policy, but I'd also like to talk about why there are several municipalities creating policies like this. Labor unions are the backbone of this country's workers' rights. That's the reasons why we have many of the rights that we have for workers right now. And unfortunately, they're being demonized. They're being starved out by subpar competing companies who want to pay their workers less and offer them less benefits. So when we talk about creating these policies to make sure that we're giving our students, as Member Perez had brought up, the best opportunity for jobs locally that will provide them benefits, that will provide them actual training that they can use in other places, it's all about preparing students for life. I am sympathetic to the concerns that Member Hahn brought up. She seems to be concerned about making sure that we're not giving minority companies an opportunity. However, what I would love to see is that enthusiasm when we're continually piggybacking contracts repeatedly over and over again and not giving opportunities for those minority businesses to as well compete for those contracts and going out of county for the lowest price. Also, if that's a concern, I would love to see us champion a policy similar to this that would designate a certain amount, with the superintendent's discretion depending on how this one goes, for minority businesses to compete in our bidding process. We don't have to cancel one policy to say that there's only a small amount of work and that we either have to give it to companies that have minority interest or are owned by minority workers or labor unions. We have enough where if those are our priorities, making sure that we are creating job opportunities to set our students up to be the most prepared and the most successful, and also making sure that we're giving minorities a chance to compete, we can create policies that go hand in hand to that. So that's kind of my thought process. I appreciate all the conversation. I think we have talked about this a lot between the workshop and here, so I just wanted to add my 2 cents, and I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I can see where this is going, and I think we've had a good opportunity between the workshop and today to be able to speak our opinions. And so, Mr. Superintendent, I'm sorry to interrupt you over there, but Ms. Vaughn had mentioned about something, I think it was alluding to bringing us reports or reporting back to the board when you have to bypass this or make an exception, or if we're going against statute, those types of things. So my suggestion, if this passes, would to potentially put it on the suspended agenda, and that way you could regularly report on it. And I would really, I won't be here in a year, but I think it would be prudent for the board to take a hard look at the data a year from now and see if it really is meeting the intent of the policy or not meeting the intent of the policy, and what consequences, if any, have been realized by utilizing this policy or having to follow this policy.
That'd be perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Please vote when your lights appear. Okay, so it passes with 5 yeses and 2 noes, and that's Member Snively and Member Hahn. Thank you. This now closes our public hearing, and we will now move on to our agenda. The following agenda items will now be heard: C1001, C503, C601, C605, C607, C608, C609, C611, and C701. Okay, we'll start beginning with 1001, which is the Memorandum of Agreement for Safe School Officers in Charter Schools. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am, through the chair. This is to bring back and finalize all of our charter schools to make sure they're in compliance with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public School Safety Act. This is to make certain that they have a armed asset at their schools to be able to serve and protect our students. Currently, all 56 brick and mortar charter schools have opted to utilize our district resource officers, and so we will continue to make certain we partner with them and prepare them. Last meeting, I spoke about an additional $7,000 expenditure that the district was assuming. And that is because of, after talking to Mr. Newman, that is all linked to us because there are employees onboarding them and giving them the resources, the materials, and the training, the equipment that they need. And then we transition those individuals to the charter schools for them to be able and charge the charter schools the actual funding for that particular officer. So the startup $7,000 is startup cost that it takes for us to be able to prepare, to train, and give them, equip these individuals. And that is money openly that we have to spend out of our funding because they don't assume that cost. And because there could be a back and forth related to whether at the end of the year, if they no longer need that resource officer and they want to contract with the sheriff's office or Tampa PD, they have the right to do so. And then that individual will be to come to us, and we'll have to fill that individual with a vacancy or determine whether or not we actually need that asset at all. And we have Chief Newman here to be able to address any questions that may come up from this process.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C-1001. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Washington. Member Snively and I pulled this item. You can. A lot of my questions were answered, but I guess the clarification would be prior to that, with the contracts, prior to this recent contract, did it always state 50,000? It wouldn't exceed 50,000?
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Davis, board members, thank you for the opportunity to let me come up here and speak on this item. That $50,000 threshold was set by Mr. Gibson and before Ms. Johnson, our CFO, as to make sure we didn't go over that amount. There are some instances where charters have a different startup and ending time, so there's some overtime that's attached to that, but the charter pays all that. So we had put a cap in there. Obviously, some charter schools don't get the allocation that a bigger charter school may, so there was a cap put out that we will, and it's my understanding we have not hit that threshold, but that was something that was done 4 years ago when we first started creating the contracts for the charter schools.
So I guess my question is, we haven't hit that, but if we do, can we change the wording on the contract?
Through the chair, yes, ma'am. We can go back and look and connect with our legal, and also look at what other surrounding counties and costs and internal costs are. And then if we have to and decide that we want to increase that cost, then we can do it as a collective.
Okay, and so over the last couple of years, have there been any costs that have incurred that have been over the 50,000 in the last 2 years?
Not that I'm aware of, absent the startup onboarding costs that we pay. It's for pre-employment screening, medical exam, psych exam, training, their D&G license, outfitting them completely, sending them to our training, and then Sheriff Chronister does the Guardian certification. Those equipment and startup costs, we don't. That's our employee. Those are our employees, so those are our costs.
So my question would be is why are not the individual charters paying for those costs? And if not, I mean, is this something that would be a legislative platform or an ask? Because I'm just curious why we would have to pay for somebody who ends up not being in our schools.
I can answer the latter question. The Guardian program for each and every one of the 67 counties is interpreted very differently. For Hillsborough County to participate in the Guardian program, in other words, Guardian certified an existing security detail, Sheriff Chronister saw that we did everything that the state already began to ask for. We were already doing that for about 30 years. So he said, I will Guardian certify your security people, not teachers, not employees, not administrators, your security detail, but only if you onboard them like you have always onboarded them. This way the sheriff didn't have to bear the burden of onboarding Guardians, then leasing them to us. So we are one of the only counties that has that type of model. A lot of other counties, they allow that the sheriff's office to be in charge of the Guardian program, and those are sheriff office employees. The spirit of the Guardian program was theoretically that it's not an unfunded mandate. You can Guardian certify any employee that you'd like, and it wouldn't cost you anything. We already had an existing security detail. Law enforcement in this region, in the state, they do not have the available manpower to staff every site. So by increasing our detail, it also means that we're increasing our costs. 3 or 4 years ago, when we started this in 18 going into 19, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not we're going to pass on those startup costs. Those are all contractual. That could be negotiated every year, or we can have a set cost. But there are employees. So if I start my school year off and I bid for that school, which our employees are allowed to do because of collective bargaining. If they bid for ABC charter school and halfway through the year one school that's closer to their home, that's a traditional school, becomes available, then they leave that charter and they go to work for one of our schools, bringing our equipment with it. So it's a very fluid deployment because we have a lot of movement from site to site, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. But that is surely something the superintendent, our legal folks, and the charter office can discuss in terms of our annual renewals. These are always annual renewals.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to thank you because I know you do an exceptional job. And we want our students to be safe regardless of where they go. I just want to make sure that we look at the contract language for next year. And if we do have to increase it, we do, because I don't want those funds, our school funds, to be going to pay for the charter. We want safety for everyone, but we also need to be paid for whatever service we're providing. So that's why I pulled the item. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Member Snively? Oh, you didn't have any comments. Okay, Member Gray?
Chief Newman, this may go to finance, but in the spirit of recognizing the concern from Chair Combs with the finance, we are contracted for 8 hours, but if it's overtime, the resource officers get paid, I believe, time and a half, perhaps a little extra. So is that an occasion? Could that warrant a possibility of
that happens weekly? We have several charter schools that have different startup and ending times. As a result, they pay for the officer to be on that site either earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon, and they pay them overtime. So that's something that the charter completely pays for. They also pay for the officer to be on school. I think what Chair Combs is talking about are those initial startup costs, which every year they're going to go up. Bulletproof vests go up, leather gear goes up. So those startup costs would obviously raise with inflation. But when someone works overtime at a charter school because the hours are different, that school funds that completely.
Okay,
Yes.
well, thank you very much. Just a clarification, and thank you for everything that you do, by the way.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 503, amendment to the contract between Hillsborough County Public Schools and the Boys and Girls Club. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. This is an amendment for our relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. Before, on June the 7th, we approved 12 elementary and middle schools to be able to serve before, after, and summer opportunities for our students to engage. And what this is bringing back 2 additional schools. The Children's Board extended their services and had additional money to bring 2 schools on. So DeSoto and Just are the elementary schools, and just expanding this initiative, which is outstanding. The Children's Board and Kelly Parish continues to be champions of the school district and this committee.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion, a second, to approve item C503. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Gray. Member Snively, you pulled this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't necessarily have a question as much as I really wanted to highlight our partnership with some of our after-school organizations, and just to publicly thank the Children's Board for extending this opportunity for these 2 schools to be added to this program. So thank you to both organizations for providing and delivering enrichment for our children before and after school. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gray?
I would be remiss, because I'm on the Children's Board, and Ms. Paris does so much, so many great initiatives to support many of our high-need students, and that is very much recognized within this agenda item as well. High quality, too, Boys and Girls Club, so that's a great addition. Thank you, Ms. Paris.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I've had the opportunity actually to go out and speak to the Boys and Girls Club, see what the work that they're doing there, and honestly, everything about it impressed me. So I'm really grateful to see that, we're working with them more, even if it's through the Education Foundation, to make sure that we're partnering with them, because the opportunities they offer our students, from after school care to support to the way that they structure their programs to make sure that they're meeting the academic needs as well as the social and emotional needs I'm just really excited to see any more partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So thanks for pulling this item so we could talk about it and highlight it.
Thank you. Please vote when your lights appear.
I'm not sick.
And it passes unanimously. 601, use of City of Tampa police officers for security and athletic contests for 22-23 school year. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. This is an opportunity to come and formalize our agreement with the Tampa police officers for security events. You know, currently we pay our individual staff, our Hillsborough County School District staff individually. We also pay the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office individually to those employees. However, we have to pay the City of Tampa the money, and they disperse that to their employees. So this is just bringing this to a formalized to our school district. It is over the $50,000 threshold. So the $170,000 comes to the board for approval so we can work through this process.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion, a second, to approve item C601. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Washington. Any discussion? Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify, this is the normal amount of security. This is just our annual agreement, because in the memorandum, the cover memorandum, it refers to additional security, which implies that these are more than what we have normally contracted for. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that these are not additional to what we normally use. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that is correct. This is our annual expenditures in partnership with the City of Tampa police officers to make sure.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Member Snively. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 605, Agreement of Technical Services 22192 ATS 4, Contract for Professional Development with Discipline Associates, LLC. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. This is a professional development opportunity for our turnaround schools. We receive turnaround leadership pipeline support grants, and this is all to be able to address a tiered approach to addressing discipline within our schools and also focus on behavior processes and procedures. In every school, the 28 schools in the Transformational Network got a chance to either take the funds and build trainings internally, or they could isolate and identify a vendor. And this is 12 of our schools that came and identified the need to go out and bring a vendor to be able to strengthen their processes and to help them be able to support teachers through professional development of how to connect with children. This is all about looking at how we work through power struggles with students, how we have calming mechanisms and strategies, looking at self-control strategies, and also being able to address and to redefine our preventions to help students be successful. So this is a grant identified by our school district to be able to continue in transformation, continue to support our children and staff.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion, a second, to approve item C605. I have a motion by Member Washington. I have a second by Member Gray. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you. I did spend some time with Ms. McCrae talking about this because anything I see, anything about discipline, especially in our transformation schools, I always want to make sure we're being restorative in nature and understand what that looks like. And I appreciate that she gave me a lot of answers. I just want to kind of recap what the answers were, that, you know, this is really to look deeper if there's some discipline problems, to give teachers and other staff members the tools they need to identify if there's something that's triggering the behavior, to really implement restorative practices. Where I know we had left things, and I saw you sent some additional information, but I want to continue the conversation, is, you know, I think it's interesting and good if we're teaching and we're providing professional development for strategies to identify things that could cause behavior problems in a much deeper and meaningful way. But once we've identified that, what's in our toolbox and toolkit, and what are we using as part of this professional development to make sure that our teachers and staff then have the means to support our students if they've found something that it's deeper. And I know that you mentioned there's something on our website, but I also wanted to see, is that going to be implemented in this training? What are we doing? We talked about possibly partnering with our other municipalities to identify things. So I just wanted some more follow-up on what it's going to look like once we've led teachers to help identify things, the support that we're giving them to help our students in that case.
Ms. McCray.
Ms. McCray?
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. She brought up a very good point. So not all discipline issues are relative to things that are happening on campus. What we're experiencing now in our schools are effects of trauma. We're experiencing things that are happening in the community and kids not having the ability to have a voice to really talk about or to ask for the proper help that they need. And so one of the things that we looked into, and I had the opportunity to talk to Shamara Bird, who works with our homeless division, and we just talked about what are resources that are available to families. How do we communicate those things? Where are they housed? And so in doing that research, we do have on our Canvas site a place where any teacher, any staff member that has access to Canvas can go on and identify resources for food, for shelter, for clothing, for housing. And there are hyperlinks to community divisions, to municipalities that are outside of our district, where if somebody wanted to get resources that are non-educational related, and they wanted to find those mental health services or those things that are needed, we do have that information. So, Ms. Vaughn, one of the things we're going to do is to ensure that we're circling back with our schools, and so all our support services and administrative staff knows how to access that information. I actually went on myself and navigated the information myself. It was something that I learned as well, that stuff is monitored and they update it quite frequently to make sure that there's recent and current information that's on that site. But just to stress that not all discipline issues are school-related issues, and that a lot of times, if we really build relationships with kids and get to the root of the problem, we will find that there are issues that we do have to partner with outside agencies in order to support not just the student, but the family's needs. So this will be a really good opportunity to kind of circle back, make sure that our schools have that information, and make sure that they know how to access anything that's non-educational and outside of our district walls. Thank you.
I did have one additional question to that. Thank you for that information. I love the idea of circling back and making sure that everyone at the school understands that. But again, since we are doing this training and it's a piece of the training and there is someone who's going to be customizing it to our district, my specific question is, will that information be included as part of the professional development at the end to make sure people who are taking this training or having this engagement have direct access to those links, and that's a follow through of this piece?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So on the description, I noticed that there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 schools that are going to be able to benefit from this, right? And then looking at the agreement, this, and I'm just trying to understand this because it's $12,000 for 4 sessions, $3,000 flat rate, includes all expenses per day. This seminar will explain why kids disengage and misbehave and the solutions to solve the issues, et cetera. So if this is a seminar, and if it's presented in a seminar format, why do we have to limit it to 12 schools? Because unfortunately, I have to say there are disruptive children at every school, right? So why are we limiting the availability of this training to just these 12 schools when potentially this could be formatted in a way that all schools could participate or maybe even virtually participate if they can't be on site for the actual seminar, unless it's more than a seminar, but right now that's how I'm understanding it.
So through the chair, and I'll start, and then I'll give it to Ms. McCray. So this is where we, are seeking flexibility with the state with our funding, because this is only driven for turnaround schools in the transformational network, which is at the Turnaround Leadership Pipeline Support Grant. So in that process, we would have to use this funding directly to those schools that are impacted under that umbrella, and then train the trainer to go expand it. If we see that it's been beneficial after reviewing, a quarter or a semester within the school district, then maybe it's an expansion that we use other funds to do so. But Ms. McCray, you want to add to that?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify. This money was only afforded to schools that were a D or an F in 2019. So that was 28 of our schools. But principals had the autonomy to decide how they wanted to spend that money when it comes to climate and culture. Mm-hmm. So not all principals wanted to bring a vendor in to get strategies. Some of the schools decided that they wanted their teachers to be able to come on campus and to create tier 1 systems and structures. So this was more of a principal autonomy based on school needs. Many schools are setting up PBIS systems, incentive and rewards-based systems. There are schools that needed to get foundationally what their discipline structures were going to look like. And then there was other schools that were ready to kind of branch out and get more information around strategies. So these principals kind of got together. They actually coordinated all of this themselves and then said, hey, we want to work together, come together as schools, and have Mr. Mendler talk to our schools. So this was more initiated from the school side, not from the district side.
Okay. Well, that helps me understand a little bit, but this is a cohort of principals who have, specifically asked for something like this to make this happen. And so that's all I really wanted, was just clarification as to why or why not we couldn't replicate some of this information so that other schools or principals or administrators and teachers would have the opportunity to learn some of these tactics and strategies for students. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Gray?
And I'm thanking Member Combs, Member Vaughn for pulling this item because, Ms. McCray, your work with the transformation schools is so critical, and it's so true. I mean, we know at home is where a lot of the problems are born, and then they go on the bus, and then they go to the schools. But what I wanted to suggest, and this is just an idea, because we have PBIS in our schools, positive behavior incentive support systems, restorative, for matters of disproportionality of suspensions, all kinds of rationale to support the child and teach them strategic ways to really mitigate their day-to-day processes. And all that is to say, can we not have an umbrella type of viewpoint from the PBIS as the day, but kind of put this right for the at home? So you have in class and then you have at home. You know what I'm saying? Because you have your chill rooms and you have all the reward rooms already set up. And by the way, Eisenhower has a really great plan for their PBIS. He's so excited. But it seems to be exciting and very drawn to the students. They recognize the PBIS. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, just a cold call here, just asking.
So lots of schools are wrapping their arms around PBIS. PBIS does a couple of things. Number one, it provides some guidance around how to set up appropriately tier 1 systems and structures. It not only provides guidance, but it really calls out how multiple players of a school campus work together in order to make a system work that's really focused on building positive relationships for kids and restorative practices for kids. So with PBIS, it really defines what the role of the administrator is, what the role of support services, what the role of the teacher is. And we need that guidance so that everybody knows what their hand is when they're dealing with students when it comes to discipline. So PBIS has been very attractive just because it really sets up some guidance around how to make tier 1. And when we say tier 1, we mean what's included for all kids, expectations for every kid on campus. But PBIS does a really good job of giving guidance, providing some directions, and really mapping out how everybody on campus kind of plays a role in setting up good systems for support.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the at home, just kind of adding another layer. But the thought is excellent and so well needed. But we can talk about that later. Sure. I just
how to extend it to the
because we've been working on PBIS for many years.
Yes.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I have a question. It's not exactly tied to this issue, but it kind of goes on what we were discussing earlier, and I just want to follow up because it seems the most appropriate place. When we were talking about how much of our general fund is allotted to salaries, I think one thing that we need to keep in mind is how many transformation schools we started with and how unique Hillsborough was to the job that we needed to do to make sure that we didn't have the highest low performing schools. And I just want to ask, is there an equation, does it equate to having more amount of people to be able to provide support to our underperforming schools when we look at that percentage?
Through the chair, when you look at, we had 30 in 2019. That was the last time we had grades until recently. We had 39 persistently low-performing schools, and those schools do require additional resources, whether it be instructional coaches or district resource teachers, whether it be additional social workers, additional counselors, whatever it may be, additional assistant principals, and all that to be able to determine how we can get them to a point where they're systemically fluid. So all that is, I would say, yes. One thing we've really done is, as I said before, is just maximize all of the funding sources that we have available to alleviate some of the general funds in that process.
Thank you. I just want to just make a point that it wouldn't be, surprising for a school that has so much work to do on its underperforming schools to have a bit of a higher cap towards salaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very good points. What might be good for the board, Mr. Superintendent, is to see a breakdown of what we're spending on transformational schools and what part of what we're spending comes from different programs, right? What buckets are the money? Because we get money from many different buckets to support what we do at Transformation School. So maybe that would be something that every board member would like to wrap their head around is how much are we spending and where is it coming from? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Please vote when your lights appear.
Okay.
And it passes unanimously. 607, invitation to bid 22122 EST IV Total Performance Service LLC DBA Power Up EDU Interactive Playground Bundle. Mouthful. Okay. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
It's just that cool. This is a lot in the subject line, but this is really an opportunity for our students who have disabilities and have limitations that may not be able to use our current structures and our current facilities related to physical education. So being able to create and partner with a vendor that creates and offers mobile classrooms for adaptive physical education. They will bring giant interactive projections, lights, sounds, all in curriculum through interactive movement, and this is just a mobile opportunity for our students to increase their healthy focus and their fitness, and for us to be innovative about how we continue to serve children. So this will be used with Title IV and also with our physical education dollars.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item C 607. I have a motion by Member Vaughn. I have a second by Member Hahn. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I do, thank you. I had a very thorough conversation about this yesterday because while it seemed excited, I wanted to make sure I understood the process of different schools requesting it, how they got access to the equipment, how it was transported to them, whether it was that's okay, I just did that too recently, whether or not it was something that they had to call and request, whether they could put in a request through the internet. I got a lot of my questions answered. The one that I know somebody sent me some follow-up information, but I didn't have a chance to check it today, was the warranty information on the equipment itself.
Sure. There's a 1-year warranty for some of the things that can obviously, like the light bulb and those pieces with the projector that Superintendent Davis mentioned. There's a 3-year warranty for the computer component and also the gigantic projector that actually fits in the gym. It is mobile. So the nice thing is we've already talked to Pablo and his team that they'll be trained by areas, and then we have one person in our PE division, our one DRT, that's going to actually move it. So we have less chance of when they check it out. We have someone that knows how to do it every single time they do it. It's also going to be trained at Professional Study Day. So everyone will have access to know exactly what it does. And then of course, when it comes in, after it's approved, we can go ahead and get working with that. So we're very excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love that piece. The other question that I had was, if I know that there's, when you request it, you request for how long that you're going to need it. If we're finding that we're having multiple requests, if people are using it longer than we anticipated, other requests are coming in after that, and we're finding we don't have enough pieces to meet the demands, is that something we'll relook at purchasing more for and track those trends?
Thank you for that question. We always start small. Sometimes when it comes to technology, is just to make sure. I mean, how great would it be to be at every single school, right? We start small, especially with the newer technology. I mean, this is pretty out there and pretty interactive and new. It's so we want to be careful. We want to look at it. We want to use it. We want all different types of schools to use it, our PE professionals and ESC support to be trained. And then we always gather feedback and do an evaluation to see that, obviously make changes to move forward. But absolutely our hopes is that this is exciting and wonderful as we know it is.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Perez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So could you restate again the funding source that this is coming out of?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is Title IV funding, and this is also physical education funding, all that are leveraged to be able to provide ongoing needs for our students, and also being able to provide supports and resources for them to interact with physical education.
Okay, so my question is, because I'm always looking for other funding sources, Medicaid dollars, because this is our children with disabilities. Am I correct?
We can, through the chair, we can look and see if that's a qualifier for this initiative.
Okay, because it should be,
Yep.
right? Because we're talking about assisting our children with disabilities, and that should be a major funding source right there, is our Medicaid dollars.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely will look at it.
Just saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Perez. Please vote when your lights appear. Okay, and it passes unanimously with Gray not being on the dais. Next is 608, Sole Source 22154 SSD 4 with Britain Educate LLC DBA Insights to Behavior to Exceptional Student Education Services 2022-2023 school year. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. This is an expansion of a sole source provider to be able to provide ongoing professional development and tracking for resources with students with disabilities. This is Insight ability to be able to have a suite to be able to create, to update, and also be able to report behavior intervention plans for our schools. And then at the same token, what it does is allows us to be able to look and enhance professional development skills and strategies related to students who have challenging behavior. So this is a tool that allows us to look at and really focus on our disproportionary disciplinary removals of black students. And this has ongoing replacement strategies, ongoing professional development. It could be face-to-face. It could be on-demand videos for for every one of our employees that serves with students, and also really strengthen our RTI, MTSS, MTSS frameworks as well. This is going to be used with IDEA funding, and this is $780,000 expenditure. This is Dr. Hickman, for those who may not know. Doctor, anything you want to say? He's our new director of ESE. Anything you want to add to this item, sir?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Yes, the only thing I would add, is sort of a repeat. It's to repeat the fact that this is for our staff and our students will benefit from this. It kind of adds to the conversation that you had on the previous item, where we take it one step further. We provide it across the district, and we develop a plan, an individual plan, something that we don't have the capability to do right now. Something, if you ask across the district how many FBAs or how many behavior intervention plans we have in place, we would not be able to respond to that. But this gives the opportunity for all of our teachers to have access and to provide that for our students who need it.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C608. I have a motion by Member Hahn, and I have a second by Member Vaughn. Member Vaughn, Member Gray, Member Snively, and myself pulled this item. And so we'll just go ahead and we'll just start with that order. If you want to put your names up. Member Vaughn? Just starting, going down the line.
Okay, thank you. So we had an opportunity to speak about this in detail tonight. I mean, this afternoon, so I appreciate that. I also had concerns about the price of it, going up so much, and then was told that we had a pilot program and now we're extending it to our schools. I felt comfortable about how it's a tracking system that's going to allow teachers to create these intervention plans much more easier, also pull data, which is something that we need desperately. I feel comfortable with the professional development piece that's added to it, and that someone will come out and the professional development will be done in person, and then there'll be follow-up training videos. My concerns were I would just like to be able to gauge, and I made this clear, going forward next year if this comes up for renewal, the data from that, how user-friendly it is. That's a concern that I have, whether or not teachers are actually able to use it in the way that we're hoping to, and they understand it and they utilize it, and be able to extract some data from it for next time when it comes up from renewal. But you answered a majority of my questions today, so I appreciate it. But just for next year, I'd like to know how much we're utilizing it, how many cases are in it, how well the teachers like it, if they find it user friendly, and going forward next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Yeah, I want to thank Shannon Lesperance, Kim Workman, and Monica Verterado for bringing this forward. I think this is much needed. The ESC population is huge. The needs are great. Let me just point out an example. During our Hispanic forums, one of the biggest problems that Principals Elementary has brought up, well, not one of the biggest, but a prominent problem, is the gifted kids, because of the language barrier, we don't really pay attention or know if they're gifted or not. So we miss a lot of those students in getting them the training, or the attention that they so much need. And so it puts a close eye on those students that slip through the cracks. Superintendent Davis, very proactive move, and he's in discussion, but I just want to say that's a huge proactive way of handling so many of our children, to be closely recognized that are ESC students. Also, when I talk to the principals, they love this, and I think you all should smile because the principals are very happy with this type of element to help them write their plans or know their plans, recognize the IEPs. And last, the disproportionality of blacks and those who have disabilities. This is affecting many of our minorities, and this particular initiative and resource helps that particular group to get the strategic energy, the positive strategic energy, such as what this initiative would give. So it pays attention to a lot of the students, in my mind, the ESC students, a huge amount of students that we seem to miss their needs, and good job. So if I missed anything, I'm sure another board member will probably say something. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Member Combs. So, when I was a professor at USF and I was preparing future special ed teachers, creating a behavior intervention plan and collecting the data and then knowing how to utilize that data to inform their classroom community. It was one of the largest projects we did in the special ed program. And it was wonderful. It's an important tool in a special ed teacher's toolbox. Given that we alternatively certify many of our teachers, they're not going to get that training, right? So I'm glad to see this as a tool in their toolbox to be to help them understand how to create this, how to utilize the data. It's an important tool, and if it can be used by all teachers, both inside special education and outside, to as one of those interventions that may be able to help teachers with challenging students who are not in special education, as Member Gray spoke about. I think it's great. I think that it's a wonderful tool for all teachers to have, and will help all students across the K-12, pre-K
K-12 continuum. So I look forward to supporting this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Snively?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to give additional feedback to board members that some of the principals reached out to me to support this, and I was just going to read one of the comments that one of them shared with me. And I attended a brief training yesterday. The program would be particularly helpful for the MTSS process and for our middle school without any resource people to create behavior plans. My administration team will be responsible for creating behavior plans. This program would support our work with all kids. Thank you for your support. So I think if principals are willing to reach out and want to wrap their arms around it and says that something like this would help them with what they're trying to accomplish, then we should support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. And I pulled it for a couple reasons, but I do like the clarification, because we did have someone come into public comment and say that why did it go from such a small amount? It's because we only had a few schools, and now we're piloting, and now we're extending it. So that's why the cost associated is so much higher. I really thought that the pilot results were really amazing, and we can hear Member Snively mentioning a lot of principals like that. I see that neighboring districts are using that. I think it's really important, and we didn't talk about that there's videos there also to support teachers on how to deal with different discipline issues. I think it's really important. Unfortunately, we have a lot of vacancies. We're going to having people cover classes. It's going to be a challenging time, and this is something that is going to be very useful. If I'm covering a class for somebody who's out, it's going to be very useful as a teacher, I think. So this can be used in a wide, numerous ways. I think for me is just looking, as Member Vaughn said, is really looking at the usage and to just not also monitor from the very beginning, because I think it's a great tool, but sometimes there's so many tools that principals and administrators don't know what tool to use. So I think we need to monitor from the very beginning and make sure we encourage, if we're not seeing schools utilize it or not seeing the usage of that, we see that there's results on that. So I just want to encourage you to monitor it from the beginning to the very end so that we are utilizing it, so schools are not using it, and to make sure that we're following up with that. So those were my only comments. And Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also like to say I got some feedback from quite a few principals about the program because it's going to deeply help a person that comes in and the teacher is not there. All they have to do is in front of them. And I think you and I spoke about this back in the day when they had all that paperwork. You got tons of paper. You got to go through the paperwork to find out what's wrong with the kid, in other words, many times. But this eliminates a lot of that. And I really appreciate that. This program is going to be successful. And that's why I'm backing it 100%.
Thank you. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 611, Hillsborough County Public Schools annual membership with the Council of Great City Schools. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. 609. 609, health insurance renewal for 2023. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, Madam Chair. As you know, this board does a really good job of making certain that we find attractive ways to recruit our employees and retain our employees. And one of those ways is to make certain that the employee cost of our Coverage First initiative local remains the $0 cost to our employees. We cover that. And also we give an $1,000 upfront benefit allowance that continues through our Coverage First local as well. And then we offer a number of wellness programs and initiatives. So what this is bringing to recognize that this will be a 6.1% increase in our insurance from last year to this year. If we look at the last couple of years, we've had a very minimal increase in our insurance through our partnership with Humana. As we move forward and we look across the state, we see increases mostly, and the majority of the increases being in double digits. So our team, once again, really working with our committee and also with our group to be able to address this. There was original concerns that 426 couples that would be penalized in a way or added additional financial burden to them. That we appreciate this committee coming back together, who has district staff, all of our unions, Aon accounting staff, our benefits enrollment staff, our human capital lead, all to come back, and that has been removed. So there is no cost to any of our employees, regardless if they are married or not, and that continues to remain the same. And this expenditure is a $7.9 million increase, and overall it's a $164 million commitment from our school district, which is important.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion, a second to approve item C609. I have a motion by Member Washington. I have a second by Member Gray. Member Gray and I pull this item. Member Gray?
Well, I just first am very satisfied that the two married district employee conundrum was resolved, and also happy to see that the wellness program is being expanded, and also the Virta Health, which is new for type 2 diabetics, will be implemented. I mean, a lot of this has to do with our employees, with how do we really care for the well-being, physical and mental well-being of our employees? And absolutely we do. And this speaks to that as well. And that's just the comments I wanted to make on this, given that we definitely reached an agreement. Thank you. I will support this.
Thank you. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I appreciate the revision once we've heard from our employees. There was so much anxiety about that, so I'm really happy to see that we listened to our employees and that we revised that. I know it's a tough time and prices are just rising, and we're trying to mitigate that. My question is, some of the coverage through Humana, I'm getting a lot of concerns about things that were normally services people could access being taken away, like most recently, and I wanted to address this question, we're no longer partnering with CVS Minute Clinic for people to be able to go and get treatment if they need to, if their primary is not available for walk-in. Is that true?
That was an adjustment that was made last year, but the CVS is still a part of it. I don't know if CVS is still doing the Minute Clinic, so we can find out about those concerns. It's all, what the providers are available and all of those things. We had some shifts from Walgreens as well a few years ago that we talked about, but I haven't heard any update on CVS, so we can get that information for you.
So I guess my question is, as providers change, if that causes anxiety or if things change throughout what Humana offers, is that something we can revisit with them and talk about after we've passed that, or is that built into this contract specifically? I'm just trying to understand, as those changes happens, how we can advocate for our employees.
We stay in contact with them, and we would want our employees to also take advantage of the Accolade program that is available through Humana as well, to help them through any of those questions or challenges.
But if, let's say, that was the case, we can always look at revisiting what providers they give. Okay, thank you.
Them about that.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Member Vaughn. And I know that we pushed this out, and I want to thank Tracy Schatzberg for everything she does. She's just so amazing. She does such a great job. I know that the health insurance and the cost of the insurance has gone up throughout the nation, and I really appreciate everyone looking back and looking at. We received so many emails about the two couples and what that looks like, and I know the insurance and the cost of insurance has just gone up, but I appreciate all the time and effort was to kind of bring this back and make it better, for the majority of our employees. I know obviously there are some concerns, and maybe that's something that we can do is bring those concerns together and meet with Humana at some point, or give those concerns to Tracy so that way she can engage with them as we move forward. So thank you for doing that. Any questions? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 611, the Hillsborough County Public Schools annual membership with the Council of Great City Schools. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. This is a partnership with 68 large school districts throughout the nation. These are all urban districts that match our demographics within Hillsborough County. And this is an advocacy group for schools that really have inner city students to be able to make certain that we continue to lead and learn from each other through the lens of equity. And what this does is really focus on improving finances, operations, communications, legislation, student improvements, processes, and all to be able to become stronger and have a true PLCs. We always ask our teachers to have PLCs, and this is really an opportunity for PLCs not only through the board, but superintendents and also staff to be able to identify and problem solve with problems of practice that may be presented with in certain situations with like-sized school districts.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item C611. I have a motion by Member Washington. I have a second by Member Gray. Member Snively, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, one of the reasons I pulled this item, in addition to highlighting it, is because usually it does come up on an annual basis why we're members of the Council for Great City Schools. So I wanted you to be able to explain some of the benefits that our district receives by being members. I'm a little disappointed that their membership fee went up so greatly from 2019-20 when we were paying $58,000 to now almost $64,500. So I am a little disappointed that they took quite a leap in that. But maybe could you specifically list some of the things that that you think our district has benefited from, including maybe the audit that they provided us?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is we have weekly meetings with superintendents, and whether we're addressing, how we increase interventions for our students, or whether we talk about, the number of suicide preventions that we implement, or looking at our finances. Every week there's a problem of practice that I, as superintendent, can be actively involved in. I know that we have, Rose involved in, Chris is involved in, everyone on the cabinet's engaged with, and I think we have board members engaged. But it's just really to be able to listen, learn, and grow and share with other colleagues across the nation and from a virtual platform and perspective. So anytime that any of us may have a particular issue that we want to be able to be reviewed or looked at, such as we did related to our finances, they will assemble a suite of experts to be able to transition to the school district and be able to review all information and provide a sophisticated report and identify action steps that can be taken that are all centered around best practices. So this is a cohesive group of large city school districts that are really working to problem solve and not allow individuals to be alone in their problems of practice that are continuing to solve every day.
And I appreciate you kind of explaining that a little bit in more detail for any board members that may not be as familiar with the Council of Great City Schools. But we don't live in a bubble, and it's always a good idea to pop up our heads and look around at some of the other school districts to see what they're doing and what's working. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. Sometimes if something's working in another district, it doesn't always mean it's going to work here, but they certainly have given us some good ideas and some good guidance in certain areas where we need it. So just wanted to more highlight it than anything else, but thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Hahn?
Just to piggyback on that, what would it have costed us to go out independently for that audit?
Oh, that audit would have cost, I want to say, north of $100,000, and maybe it could have been close to $200,000 due to the $3.3 billion budget.
Yeah, because I know we went out before I was a board member for the Gibson report, and that was into the six figures.
Oh yeah, completely.
That was over $800,000.
Oh,
okay.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Good.
Okay.
Question.
Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 701, approved guaranteed maximum price for the welding lab project at Irwin Technical College, project number TBD. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. Irwin Technical College was a beneficiary of a workforce development grant to improve their equipment and also facilities where students are trained and instructed in all materials related to technical welding. So what this does is allow us to be able to expand, to improve electrical, to improve heating, ventilation, HVAC systems to provide to update their existing labs. And this is all through financially backed by adult workforce development funding. So this is an $800,000 expenditure.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item C701. I have a motion by Member Perez, and I have a second by Member Snively. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I do. Thank you. First of all, let me say how excited I am about this. I love welding. I think it's the core of so many other trade programs that you can get into. I think welding is one of the best things somebody can go into. From talking to Mr. Brooks about it, I understand that we got the equipment through a grant that's been sitting there, and we've been waiting to be able to outfit Irwin, which desperately needs kind of this help with the equipment. I made sure to ask if we had staff who could go ahead and make sure that they were there to train the students for this kind of lab. The one question that I didn't get answered, and I know it was to go to you, Mr. Farkas, is how did we choose DC Studio and Reno Builders as the company who's going to outfit this lab?
Thank you for the opportunity to answer the question. DC Studios is actually the same firm that did the East Bay lab when we put a welding lab in East Bay a couple of years ago, so we knew there'd be a cost reduction because they'd already set up the same kind of format. It's also a local firm. And then with Reno Building is also a local firm. They're a 19-year-old firm that's raised here in Tampa and start here. So we start with small and minority businesses, and that is in our small local business category. So it's through continuing services, which means that we can choose those. They were chosen because they had experience in that field.
Okay, so we don't have to put this out for a bidding process. By the guidelines it fits, we're able to choose the company that outfits it. And you're saying because we had previous experience using them, we also got a discount?
Yes, ma'am. And it's if it's under $4 million, then it's on continuing services. Over $4 million, we go through the selection process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We will now move on to superintendent comments. Superintendent Davis?
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, just want to provide just a real quick a couple of updates within our organization that are happening for our community to be informed on. The first one is to make certain that every one of our community members understand that it is back to school tax, sales tax holiday. This started on July 25th. And will extend through August the 7th, regardless if we're, identifying or purchasing learning aids, school supplies, whether it be clothing, computers, accessories. There's all a number of opportunities to be able to save money on this over the next couple of weeks. So we hope our families take advantage of this as we get our children ready and primed to come back to school. Also, this Saturday on July the 30th at the West Shore Plaza, this will be our 15th annual Back to School Fair that is sponsored by the Tampa Bay Parenting. They've done a really good job of making certain they have access to our students so they can learn about all of our initiatives at our school districts and also provide ongoing supports for our families. And so this will take place at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the West Shore Plaza Mall. Hope to see our parents there. And then also we have a continued partnership with the Bullard Foundation, Family Foundation, our Back to School Bash. And this will be held at Raymond James Stadium on Saturday, August the 6th. And it will start at 9:01 to 1:01. And this will be led by Mr. Thaddeus Bullard, as we know him as a WWE ambassador, which is Titus O'Neill. And he continues to be a champion for our school district and other communities across the state and across the nation. And then also making certain that we educate our community about creating strong schools and stronger Hillsborough. So I want all of our constituents to understand that on the primary election, there will be a referendum asked for our community on August the 23rd. And this is to increase the $1 for an additional tax in a 4-year period. And this is the 4-year period is the length of the longest duration that we can go out as a school district. And it gives us 3 years to be able to prove competence and provide analytics that shows that we can attract and retain our teachers. And at the same token, being able to see that putting a highly qualified skilled teacher and highly qualified skilled leaders and support staff in front of our students will ultimately increase student outcomes. So ultimately, this funding will be used to imagine, redesign, and our compensation plans for all of our employees in our school district. That's every employee. And then also being able to expand visual performing arts and physical education for 15,000 youngsters that do not currently have it. And then also be able to address and expand workforce development and continue to be innovative in that solution in this space. So that's all I wanted to share this evening. As we get ready to come back to school, we want to welcome our teachers back very soon. And thank you to all of our operational staff members and all the vendors in our oversight committee for all the projects they've implemented this summer. And then at the same token, all of our leaders who've been remarkable. And, hats off to Mr. Connor and his entire team and all of this cabinet for an awesome, outstanding leadership institute We really appreciate it. Shay McRae, Sue Burkett, Ken Hart, all of those leaders and regional superintendents to be able to provide ongoing professional development and to allow our leaders to have a concentration and focus as we transition and navigate to our new school year. And thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. We will now move to board comments. Board members, just a reminder, you'll have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds of additional thoughts. Member Perez, we'll begin with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, with school starting, school safety is paramount for this board member, as I'm sure it is for you. On this coming Saturday at 7 p.m., public, I'm going to be having an incredible conversation. It's called Between Two Worlds, between Florida and Texas. I'm going to be collaborating with Sarah Mann. She is an educator with 28 years worth of experience working with public schools. She has worked as a teacher, coach, school counselor, and campus administrator, serving students from 1st to 12th grade. And across her career, she also has held multiple district level positions and within higher education. Also, she has a mental health background and other crisis response experience. She helped coordinate the Floresville Independent School District response following the Sutherland Springs church shooting to support students, staff, and families in her district. We're going to be working together and collaborating, talking about how Hillsborough County and our community partners work together, and she's going to talk about how Texas and her community partners work together. And then we're going to talk about what works for them and what works for us, and collaborate together unitedly about what works both ways in protecting our students. And I'm inviting our community to join us in this amazing conversation. I'm really excited to have this conversation, transparently in the community just before school starts. And I hope everyone joins me.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let me give some kudos out to Ms. Johnson, and you did a great job today. When we meet one-on-one, I mean, you help me to understand because numbers is not my game. I'm a driver's ed man. So when I come to see you, you really help me out a lot. So I just want to thank you and your staff, because they're doing a great job, and continue doing a great job, because this is the first time some years that we've been in the black for a while. Yeah. So I appreciate that very much. Mr. Farkas, can't leave you out, sir. I want to thank you. I went by James. They're doing a great job over at James with HVAC, the media center, and putting in a lot more renovations over there. And I appreciate that, because that's District 5. Okay. Also, Dr. Hahn and I had opportunity to build over 3,000 book bags, not by ourselves now. We had a lot of people over there at the Bullitt Foundation. We worked really hard with those book bags, and 30,000 of them. And it's going to be for the Bullitt Family Foundation, which will be on August the 6th, like the superintendent said, at 9 a.m. at Raymond James Stadium. Also, I had opportunity to visit the Educational Foundation, where I had a chance to fill up bags with school supplies for teachers and the select pickup points. I enjoyed that. It's always good to help teachers out, to serve teachers. Then I had opportunity, remember Vaughn and I met with Ms. Hart along with Ms. Davis. We had a great conversation with them about how we can improve schools in the district, and the majority of our schools are doing really well in District 5, and we wanted her to come out to District 5 to visit, and she said that she would. And also, thank you, Ms. Vaughn. You did a great job too, because you brought some points out that really needed to be brought out. Now, on on this weekend coming up, we are celebrating Family and Friends Day on July the 31st at Allen Temple Church. We want you to come out. It's going to be from 12 to 3. We are collecting. We want to give away over 3,000 pair of tennis shoes. That's our goal. We're at about 2,500 now. So we want students, because everybody giving out book bags. So we want to do something a little bit different, and we have a lot of shoes to give away. So if you have opportunity on July the 31st, please come out and support us at Allen Temple. We're going to have a lot of games, food, all the food you need. A lot of food, because Reverend Daines love to cook now, I'm telling you.
Ish.
You know that, don't you, Sue? So you get opportunity, so please come out. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Gray?
Yeah, in big capital letters, I have thank you, teachers, staff, and principals and cabinet for the huge success and Superintendent Davis of our grades. It was on the backs of each of you, and that we know. Also, I wanted to share that coming up for registration are, thanks to Monica Vera Tirado, we will have, thank you, Member Combs, we will have the translators to help our Hispanic families register their children to mitigate the language barrier. Also, our Hillsborough Healthy Schools, thank you, Dr. Ross, and the Health Department. Every school will have a poster now saying no vaping in addition to no smoking. So this is going to be happening hopefully now or a few days. So that's going to be up. Then we have the Bridge to Biliteracy Summer Camp. This is funded by the Department of Defense, first year, but it really shows how our Hillsborough County Public School District has expanded diversity and putting it into a camp for all children. This is just, I think, a 50-second video. Pablo, are we going to watch that? He's focused.
He doesn't know. Hi, my name is. Sounds like we got sound difficulties.
Oh, you see it?
See it?
Oh, we don't have sound. But at any rate, because I know it's not long, it's a great project, and again, we're trying to expand diversity and get our between the dual language programs. The biliteracy is also happening through summer camps. And then, and Pablo, I guess we have another video, but I'll have to wait.
The goal is to deliver a career-focused education. Like that, right. A Spanish immersion program at Hillsborough County Public Schools has become very popular. An overwhelming number of local families applied to the Bridge to Biliteracy program. So the district held a lottery and surprised the future Spanish-speaking students. So take a look.
Leia, congratulations, Leia! You were selected for the Bridge to Biliteracy program. Yay! So this is your teacher.
Students got a surprise visit to their home, even getting to meet their future teachers. Spanish language program launched thanks to a grant from the Department of Defense. The goal is to deliver a career-focused education that sets students on a path to speaking English and Spanish. The program will launch at 2 elementary schools in the fall.
Okay, that's that 50-second. Now, Pablo, you have another video. Oh, this one. Let me just share first the background. Can you put it on pause for a second? So this is a student. Actually, this represents the migrant population. Thank you, Carol Mayo. But our bilingual school counseling team recently had the opportunity to officially award one of our Pasos El Futuro scholarship recipients, Alameda McDonald from East Bay High School, alongside our community donor, attorney Edward Reyes. The other recipient for the migrant scholarship was Rigoberto Francisco from Leonard High School, but he was not able to attend because he was currently working in Georgia in the fields. And this is, anyway, we're going to just see a video. They've been recognized for their hard work, and they have received a scholarship. Pablo, can we just see a bit of it?
Opportunity, since it will help contribute to my future. I heard that this Wednesday we were supposed to be having a meeting. Unfortunately, I cannot go because I'm in Georgia working with my parents. We work almost a full day in the fields and picking and packing tomatoes. I am thankful for this scholarship because it will help me pay for my tuition at Hillsborough Community College. That is something that my parents cannot easily afford since they would have to work for months. Another reason why I'm grateful is because I got to know about the Pasos al Futuro program. This program can help students succeed in school and can even help them after they graduate high school. It is great to hear about such a wonderful program, and I am glad I got to learn about it. With the help of this scholarship and Pasos al Futuro, I am looking forward to attend HCC without having my parents stress themselves too much in the fields. Once again, I am very grateful for this scholarship, and I'm currently out of state working with my parents, but it still would have been nice to meet you in person. Thank you, and have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you, and thank you, Attorney Edward Reyes, for this. Thank you, Carol Mayo, for bringing this to our attention. You have great employees, Superintendent Davis, and they are givers, and to those who definitely need the attention, of course, and the scholarship. Thank you for me going over, and that's as usual.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Gray, for sharing that about the migrant scholarships. USF College of Ed, actually, there's a migrant center at USF, and they give out scholarships to our high school students who want to become teachers. So we should probably find out how many they've given out this year, because I know they give out a few every year, and they attend USF to become teachers. And so I'd like to just share, I went out to Mitchell Elementary School 2 weeks ago, and I met with the My On Street team. They have been going out to many of our schools across the district this summer with their street team summer program. And they read to the students, and they talk about the importance of reading. And the students were so excited, the ones that were attending the summer program. And they gave out prizes to the students. And at the end of the summer and end of the program, My On will give out prizes to the students who have read the most minutes in different categories. And they were really excited to learn about that. So I just want to thank My On for having that summer program. I was able to give each of the students a McDonald's bookmark. At the bottom of that bookmark, you can see the little picture of the ice cream cone and the cookies. And that's a free coupon that the students could then turn into a McDonald's near them for a free ice cream cone or cookie. So I want to thank Casper's, McDonald's, and Dustin with Casper's for those bookmarks. They're a big hit at the early childhood literacy fairs, and they're a big hit at the My On Street Team summer program. Also want to thank the Bullard Family Foundation, as Miss Member Washington did. We had such a fun Saturday at Amalie Arena. There were close to 1,000 volunteers, and we got to build all those backpacks and pack them, and those 30,000 backpacks are going to go off to Raymond James and be used and be given out actually at the Back to School Bash, which I'm excited to attend in a few weeks in August. So thank you to the Bullard Family Foundation and Thaddeus Bullard for all of his continued support to the children and families in our community. And I just want to thank the Hillsborough Education Foundation. I sit on their board, and just want to thank them for the support they're giving our teachers this year in our Title I schools through the Teaching Tools Store. As Member Washington mentioned, he was there volunteering. So thank you to HEF for always being such champions for our teachers. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Vaughn.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Member Washington, for mentioning our Diane Hart visit and for being such a strong advocate for your district. It's really great when I can come together to two people who are so committed to our marginalized communities and really talk about the solutions, talk about early literature, funding, all of that. I love that bridge to literacy. I wish I had knew about the bilingual program when my son was first starting school. I think that's such a great option for kids to learn multiple languages. You know, I'm just really impressed as I sit here in board comments to see our fellow board members all working so hard to do things in our community to make sure that aside from just our job of balancing the budget and having these board meetings, we're really reaching out and investing in our communities, whether it's through reading, whether it's through offering services and back to school needs, whether it's with the migrant community, whether it's continually talking about mental health or what we can do in all the different ways. I really appreciate that. I wanted to get a heads up to parents. If you are getting rid of some of your clothes from last year, I know I am buying larger sizes. Donating to Oasis is always a good opportunity. They collect gently used clothes to make sure that our students in needs have uniforms and clothes that they need. So if you're thinking about what do I do with these uniforms my kids have outgrown or my students have outgrown, please look and find your closest Oasis donation box. Also, as we're gearing up, I know that there are a lot of teachers who are excited about outfitting their classrooms and have wish lists of things that parents, if they have the means, can do. There's actually a website on Facebook called Adopt a Teacher that you can join, and you can look at your school and see if your teachers have posted any wish lists. I know I've fulfilled quite a few, and it's really great to get a thank you note from a teacher over, you know, one item that really can make a difference throughout making sure students have what they want. So if you have an opportunity to do that. Also, I believe our choice window opened up again today, our last choice window. If you want to talk about that for a second. So if parents are looking for that last opportunity to make some choices, another window is open up. Did that go live at 5 today?
Sorry. Mr. Vance, Mr. Ayers says, open up today, open up tonight, and then it closes. It's only one day.
Open up tonight, closes tomorrow, so take advantage of it. One last thing I wanted to kind of touch on was, I know this board doesn't like any surprises. So I'm just going to talk about that I've been contacted by a few other board members in other counties about some gun safety resolutions and programs that they're working with partners in the community to make sure that they're having conversations in the schools about gun safeties and parents and making sure that, you know, we're having those conversations. So going forward, that's something I'd love for the superintendent and the board to look at, you know, how we can partner and how we can make sure we're talking about safe use of guns going forward. So I just want to throw that out there. And then finally, you know, just to our teachers and to our staff, you know, I know, some teachers and staff members have to have extra jobs over the summer, but either way, I hope that you found an opportunity this summer to kind of replenish your souls, to reconnect with loved ones, to take some time to really appreciate the hard work that you've put into the last school year that's made us so successful, that we're all very excited about. And I just hope that you have everything that you need to go into the next year. We're really excited about this next year. I'm excited about it. So I'm very thankful to our teachers and staff, and I hope we're all ready to start the new year coming up. And that's all. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, most of the board members have touched on a lot of great programs over the summer, so I won't reiterate all of them, but I will say congratulations on a successful Leadership Institute. Heard really great feedback from administrators about that, and I think that's really important, and I've said this since I've started as a school board member, that principals, they are the site leaders of their schools, and they are critical, and they set the tone and they set the culture for their school. They're that important, and so it's really important that we invest in their futures and their development and their leadership abilities. So congratulations on a great Leadership Institute. I wanted to also thank you and Anne Marie Courtney, who's somewhere, but she does a great job connecting our school district to our community and the resources out there. Just a special shout out to thank her for allowing the Boy Scouts of America to come in and talk a little bit about Cub Scouts, because we're recruiting again now that things have changed and the pandemic has mostly subsided. There's a lot of kids who really want to get outside and have some fun, and Cub Scouts is a great way to do that and learn citizenship and good behavior, because those are important things in school too for site leaders. Want to thank some of our community partners, specifically the Greater Riverview Chamber of Commerce. the Valrico Fishhawk Chamber of Commerce and the Plant City Chamber of Commerce, who have upcoming teacher welcome breakfasts, welcome back breakfasts coming up next week. I hope to see my fellow board members at some of those events. I'm sure there are others happening with other chambers around the district. Those are just the ones in my area, but they make a real big effort to put on a fantastic either breakfast or lunch, depending on which one you go to, and give a lot of great things, supply the teachers with all kinds of things for their classrooms. And so those are going to be fantastic events as they are annually. And there are a bunch of back to school supply drives out there. So yes, take advantage of that tax-free holiday. And if you have a chance, whether you adopt a teacher on the Facebook page or you donate, just don't have it shipped. These days you can go to online, and not that I want to necessarily promote one place, but I know you can go to Amazon and you can buy and drop ship a whole school supply kit to any school. And we've got a lot of schools out there who could really use some help with supplies for students. So be generous if you can. And I'm glad that first of all, I can't believe summer is almost over. That just blows my mind a little bit. But I hope that, like Ms. Vaughn said, I hope that a lot of our staff had a chance to recharge and regroup and replenish over the summertime. And we're all excited about school starting back next month, just in a couple of weeks. We're going to be back in the throes of our daily routines with children in school. So best wishes to everybody. Welcome back to all of our teachers and staff, and welcome to some of the new teachers and staff into our school district. And I hope you have a great start of the year. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Snively. I first want to thank Representative Susan Valdez for a health fair that we had last Saturday at HCC. There were hundreds of families there, and over 1,000 backpacks were given. But what was really surprising, or not surprising, it was the amount of healthcare workers were there and how many people needed immunizations, healthcare. I met so many students. I met several students who just arrived like a week ago from Cuba. They were 16, 17 years old. So it was really, when you go there, you saw how high the needs are in those areas. And I want to thank so many district personnel. I want to thank FACE, ELL, ESE, community outreach. We had so many district members out there supporting students. That, as well as the other day when I went with Janet Cruz, when she had her outreach too for her jobs, there were so many, we had Hillsborough people there once again representing. So I want to thank all the individuals who work in our district who are out there on Saturdays and on the weekends and after school doing all those extra outreach for our community. Also for the Leadership Institute, thank you, Member Washington and Member Gray and I myself went. I really truly believe that the heart and the soul of the school district is with the administrators, the assistant principals, and the principals. And as much as I want to be super positive, because I'm a very positive person, I have to go back and think about like the hundreds of vacancies that they're dealing with right now, and as they begin in the school year, how they're feeling. I saw a principal yesterday at a great middle school, and she told me that her top English expert, her subject area leader, came to her yesterday, and she'd been a teacher for 12 years and said, I quit. I can still be in the Florida retirement system. I'm going to make $7,000 more, and I'm going to be able to work out of my house. The truth is, we are looking at, and I talked to someone today, and we said, a pandemic of human capital. And if you go to a restaurant and you can't be served, that's one thing. But if you have a room full of students and you don't have a teacher and you have to have coverage, and I appreciate you, Superintendent Davis, for looking at how everybody is going to be, everyone hands on deck, but we have to continue to look at the future, and we have to advocate at the state and the local level. We have to advocate for teacher, bus driver, nutrition, for higher salaries, because people are moving left and right to Tampa, but people can't live here and teach here. So we have to do something about this. We really need to look at what we can do. When I see those teachers and I get those emails, honestly, it keeps me up at night, because I sometimes wonder, why did I take this job? And I took it because I really believe in public education and I believe in teachers. So we all have to continue fighting each and every day and know that these principals and these assistant principals, as excited as they are to open up the doors of school, some of them are sitting with 10 or 14, vacancies. So we need to really look at that. And thank you, everyone, for all your hard work and everything you do. And I know that the board is working so hard, as well as each and every one of you. So thank you and have a nice evening. This meeting is adjourned.